Hokage, I can only use Xianju. Chapter 61-80. Chapter 61-Weeping Blood. Toho was performing a spell on a dusty Kusakakushi ninja in front of him. Well. The other party was covering his mouth and could only make a helpless sound. A seal is formed on the pocket, and Yin, Si, Shu, Chen finally puts his hands together. Spirituality. Reincarnation of dirty earth. The dust drowned the Kusakushi ninja, and gradually formed a middle-aged Yu ninja dressed in old fashion, which did not look very strong. Do adjusted his glasses. Although he already knew about it, he still asked unwillingly, which ninja did you die in? How is your strength? The middle-aged ninja began to talk endlessly. Oh, young man, the old man has suffered. I didn't die in battle, but in the mountains hunting to death, when I met a tiger. You don't know that tiger, it's direct. Before the man could finish speaking, Do had already untied his filthy reincarnation and turned into the grass ninja just now, but he had already lost his life, and Do let out a long sigh. Turning his head to the leisurely man in the corner, he said, another useless ninja, this is the 22nd one, Master Feng Yao. Feng Yao resisted the look of wanting to laugh and said comfortingly, it's okay, it's not that you can also channel the combat power of 2 shadow levels. Don't worry about this kind of thing, and your reincarnation is already very good. Feng Yao once again opened the Shinwei space with his right eye, and threw out a Kusanagi ninja, and Orochimaru also walked in at this time. Beside him was a boy of about 13 or 14 years old, dressed in a gray ninja suit, with a thin body, small brown eyes and a little joy, and there were tears on his face. Orochimaru's face had a rare excitement, as if a child saw a toy. He took the child to Feng Yao's side and said, Yaojun, it seems that you were right in deciding not to destroy Kaoyan. I found an interesting child. Feng Yao was so excited to see Orochimaru coming out for the first time, and Feng Yao, who was also interested, looked down at the boy. To make Orochimaru so excited, then this boy must have something special. It is not a special physique, that is, there is a limit of blood. Feng Yao took a few glances and found Hua Dian. The other party was also a ninja who received the bondage spell mark a few days ago, but the blood slave curse disappeared. Feng Yao turned his head towards Orochimaru and asked, did you undo the curse on his head? Hee, that's what I'm talking about, Yaojun, this child has unlocked my curse by himself. He has a special bloodline limit, just like Junmalu's corpse veins, but Junmalu is a bone, and his blood is very special. Quote. Orochimaru began to introduce Feng Yao that this child was called Ling Yu, an orphan in the war. He was adopted by the grass-hidden village and trained as a ninja, but due to his special physique, he is not very proficient in ninjutsu illusion. Therefore, he was not seen by the people of Kaoyan village, and felt that Ling Yu was eating and drinking in the village for free. Feng Yao was speechless. Kaoyan village really didn't have the vision to know people. Orochimaru continued. According to my preliminary observations, he can control the flow rate and movement of the blood in his body. He accidentally triggered the curse mark today, and then the blood flow in his body slowed down. After the attack time, the curse mark it was naturally untied, and his blood was very special. Quote. Does it control the blood flow? That means you won't die from blood loss even if you get cut, right? Go on. Orochimaru really deserves to be a friend of the orphans, and found another rare talent in Kaoyan village. Okay, after the blood in the body goes outside, it will move according to the frequency of his cry, and it can also have a corrosive effect. Hearing this, Feng Yao also knew why there were tears in the corners of the eyes of the other party when he came in, as if he had just cried. Is it the blood of crying? Feng Yao nodded. Very good, take him back too, it's a pity that such a person stays in Kaoyan. When Ling Yu heard that the other party was going to take him away, he was a little flustered, and was about to cry again in a hurry. After all, he had lived in Kaoyan for a long time, and although his life was not good, there was still some resistance to letting him move to another place. Ling Yu asked timidly, well, my lord, can I not go? People in the village say I'm useless, and I will cause trouble for my lord. Feng Yao put his hand on the opponent's head, and the pure breath made Ling Yu's mood a lot more stable. Don't worry, I won't hurt you, I'll make you stronger, and you'll be a useful person. Ling Yu stared at Feng Yao's blue pupils, and finally nodded. Haha, very good, your special blood shouldn't have a name yet. I see that you like to cry so much, why don't you just call it the Weeping Bloodline? I hope you can master its power in the future. After finishing speaking, a person suddenly came running at the door. It was Kudo-san, the leader of the grassy village. Seeing his expression was a little flustered, he seemed to be in a hurry. After he ran in, he took a few breaths in a row, and then said, Sir, it's not good, the news of the attack that I said a few days ago. Iwayan village noticed, they sent people to us to check the information. According to the report, it will be there in a while. Quote. Yanying village was also afraid that something might go wrong on Kusakane's side. After all, it was related to future war operations. So a team of Shang ninjas was sent to check it out. Feng Yao was not in a hurry, and it wasn't the Toying Tianliang Onogi who came here. A mere Shang nin squad, even Orochimaru, has done it. Feng Yao turned his head to Do and said, Didn't you be reincarnated all the time, are you tired? How about going out with me for some activities? Tu couldn't ask for these words. He was reincarnated in the dirt every day. Although he made rapid progress under the guidance of Feng Yao, the things he repeated every day still made him feel a little boring. He stood up, moved his muscles and bones, and made a clicking sound. Don't worry, leave it to me, Lord Feng Yao. Orochimaru said that he still had to study the child's abilities, so he politely refused. Feng Yao and the two walked out, and the team from Yenian village not far away just came in, 2 Shangren and 1 Chunin. Kaoyan village has almost completely rebuilt the destroyed village in the past few days, and it seems that there is no problem. However, the villagers and ninjas seem to avoid them intentionally or unintentionally. Captain, there is a problem. Grassian village should not be like this. What are they afraid of? All be careful and prepare for battle. Iwagakushi's ninjas sensed something was wrong, but they also had to find out what was going on. This was their task. Not far away, Kudo-san walked across from them, and he saw Iwakage's crowd hurried over to greet him. Sorry, I've kept the envoys of Yanying for a long time, I was just dealing with some things. Seeing that the other party was the leader of Kusanagi, the guards of several people relaxed a little, and they were about to ask something. Suddenly, several lines of kunai flew out and went straight to Kudo-san's back. One of the Iwagakushi ninjas quickly pulled Kudo-san behind him and avoided kunai's attack. Sanjikue was stuck on the ground, looking up in the direction from which the shot came. A man with a white mask was standing on the roof watching them. Captain Iwatoshi frowned, and he couldn't confirm whether the other party was coming towards them or Kusakura with a single blow just now. Who are you and why are you attacking us? Feng Yao didn't answer him, but Kudo-san, who had just been rescued, did it. He condensed a chakra scalpel in his hand and slashed directly at the neck of the nearest Jonin. Captain Rock Ninja found out at the first time, and hurriedly pulled back his teammate's clothes, although he avoided the fatal injury. But the arm was still swept by the chakra scalpel, and all the muscles on the arm were cut off. Nagami snorted, and his strength, who couldn't seal without his arm, has been greatly weakened. Kudo-san released the transformation technique, and after a puff of smoke, the figure of the pocket was revealed. As expected of Yenying's Jonin team, I think I was close enough just now, but you were still aware of it. Do adjusted his glasses and expressed his admiration for the action of Captain Iwagen just now. The leader of the Rock Ninja looked at the pocket in front of him coldly. HMPH, you guys did the work on the grass-hidden village, right? Where is the real Kudo-san? Feng Yao used Fei Lei Shen to instantly appear in the position of kunai. If you can beat me, you will be able to see him naturally. If you can't, you will all die here today. Chapter 62-Fighting Iwanen. Extremely arrogant, no matter who you are, there is no room for mistakes in my Yenian village's plan, you are the ones who should die. The leader of the rock ninja roared. His hands formed a seal, and when he was done, he slapped his hands, and the surrounding rocks suddenly trembled slightly. Two-done rock stealing stick. The opponent turned the attached rock into a sharp stick and flew towards Feng Yao, trying to kill him. Multiple rock sticks flew in all directions. Another Chunin also uses ninjutsu in coordination. Soil escape, triple gravity. As the Chunin hands clasped together, Feng Yao and Tu felt like their bodies were used to lead, and it was difficult to move. No wonder I can join this kind of Shengnin team as a Chunin, so I have my own unique ninjutsu. Feng Yao nodded lightly. This move is slightly similar to the technique of weighted rock, but the opponent directly controls the size of gravity, while the technique of weighted rock increases the quality of the enemy. The stick has already flown over, and although he can evade it, it is difficult for the pocket to dodge, and Feng Yao sticks one hand on the pocket. Flying Thunder God's Art. Bang! The sticks collided and shattered, and they fell into the air. Iwanan looked around and found Feng Yao on the roof just now. He murmured in a low voice, "It's time-space ninjutsu, which is troublesome." "Thank you, Lord Feng Yao, for taking action. If it weren't for you, I would have been severely injured." Do turned his head to thank Feng Yao, and put away his peeping heart. The terrain of Yanyan village is dangerous, easy to defend and difficult to attack, and it is relatively difficult to communicate with the outside world, so Do rarely fights with Yanyan people. "It's alright, you go to deal with the injured Yanyan, and leave the rest to me." Feng Yao opened his mouth and arranged a task for Do. Captain Yan'an was impatient and said, "If you want to fight, fight, it's ridiculous to be timid." Facing the ridicule of Captain Yan'an, Feng Yao was not angry, but the other party really angered him. He can't do anything about the time and space ninjutsu like Flying Thunder God, so he wants to anger Feng Yao and fight him recklessly. Feng Yao turned his head and said disdainfully to Captain Yan Ninja, "I just meet your condition, what can you do with me?" After speaking, he opened the moon step and stepped on both feet, and the entire bottom of the building shattered, and Feng Yao's whole body was ejected like a cannonball in front of the other party. "Good job." Yan Nin was ecstatic in his heart, and with a seal in his hand, he snorted softly. Two-done Earth Stone Dragon. The rocks next to it quickly condensed into a majestic stone dragon and bit it like Feng Yao. At this distance, it is impossible to escape, but Feng Yao seems to be non-existent, and the Earth Dragon penetrates the past. Captain Rock Ninja was surprised. Could it be an illusion, right? Sensing Feng Yao's murderous aura, he immediately shouted, "Two-done petrochemical." His entire chest turned into a solid rock, which was harder than iron under the influence of chakra. Wolf Hunt, hands from all sides. The fingernails collided with the hard rock, making a sound similar to the interaction of gold and iron. Iwanan flew out, and the rock on his body returned to skin, but the claw marks could still be seen. Captain Rock Ninja got up and said inexplicably, "Isn't it an illusion? How could this happen? Why was the ninjutsu just now?" Feng Yao jokingly said, "Don't struggle, no matter what kind of ninjutsu is ineffective for me, that's why I say that you must die today." Hearing this kind of words, Captain Rock Ninja was startled, and if this is the case, he has no chance of winning. The only thing to do now is to report the situation here to the village. That Chunin witnessed this scene and knew that his captain had been destroyed by the opponent's will to fight. Hurriedly spoke to stabilize the situation. "Captain, listen to me, this guy is just exaggerating, this state of ignoring ninjutsu will definitely cost chakra or have some restrictions, he said this to destroy our confidence." "Ah." Captain Rock Ninja was refreshed and reacted. "It's very dangerous, I was almost provoked by the other party." "Yes, if it really doesn't work, why should he tell me, wouldn't it be better to fight me directly?" He was also a battle-hardened man, and he regained his confidence and his morale was high. This time he took the initiative to attack. Earth Escape, Rock Fist Technique. He covered his fists with rocks and performed a physical attack on Feng Yao, which was very hard and powerful. Feng Yao couldn't help but look at the Chunin a few more times. He was indeed quick-witted and firm-willed. Moreover, the Shangrin of the 5 great ninja villages is obviously much stronger than the Shangrin of a second-rate village like Kusakan. The opponent punched him, and the terrifying force made a sonic boom in the air, unstoppable. But it still passed through Feng Yao's body. When Captain Yanin passed through the whole person, Feng Yao materialized and stretched out his hand like the other party, ready to inhale it into the divine space. The Chunin on the side took advantage of it now. Tu Dun Tu Long spear, Feng Yao's feet once again appeared sharp rocks to attack himself. So Feng Yao's hand passed through the body of Captain Iwanan, and the rock also passed through Feng Yao's body. The Chunin suddenly shouted, "He can't attack when he's nullifying the ninjutsu, we cooperate with each other." The two were refreshed and seemed to have found a chance to win. Very good, as long as we concentrate, we can always have a chance to find the other side's flaws. The longer it drags on, the more chakra he consumes, the better it will be for us. Feng Yao frowned, then took a deep breath, forming a seal in his hand, activating the chakra in his body. Countless phantoms appeared all over the body, and they all stretched out their right hands, Wan I Mahamudra. A huge palm condensed from chakra suddenly appeared. Feeling the terrifying power contained in it, the 2 rock ninjas were speechless, and the Chunin was the first to react, shouting, "Go!" Feng Yao snorted coldly. The 5 fingers of the palm stretched out, grabbed it brazenly, and the force was heavy. Tu Dun Tulu return. Soil escape, earth flow wall. Earth escape hardening technique. The 2 instantly used several defensive ninjutsu techniques, but they did not support for even a second and turned into powder. Boom! A huge roar resounded throughout Kaoyan village, Feng Yao's big hand clapped, and the other party died instantly. The big hand was slowly raised, and the blood, mud and bone slag rained down, and blood soaked between the 5 fingers. It seems that both of them died under the palm of his hand, but Feng Yao showed suspicion, and he quickly flew to the place where the palm landed. Looking at the muddy mud under his feet, he thought deeply. He turned his right fist into an iron block, and punched the thick ground next to him. Other party just used soil escape snorkeling in soil, to soften the soil and escaped into the ground. Although it was not like that Joinin died directly, the strength of Chakra's hand hitting the ground also shattered most of his bones. He had blood seeping out of his 7 orifices, and looked at Feng Yao with frightened eyes. "You really have some brains, but I'm sorry, you have to die here." Feng Yao made no secret of his praise for him. He was able to discover the secret of his blurring in a short time, and used sea-level ninjutsu to sneak underground to avoid his own attack. This person is also a wit. Ahem, I'm from Lord Yellow Earth. Disciple, I want to talk to you. This Chunin was thinking of negotiating with the other party to get an opportunity. He wanted to live and report the information here to Tsuchikage. Otherwise, there is such a person in Kaoyan village ambushing here, no matter how many people come, they will die. The most important thing is that he needs to know who the other party is. Feng Yao squatted down slowly, as if to hear what he had to say. Chunin was about to open his mouth, but unfortunately a kunai had already cut his throat. Yenian village is different from Kaoyan village. Kaoyan negotiates with himself based on himself. Changing to Yenian is different, it is definitely the other party. And he didn't want to reveal his intelligence. Once these people died, Yenian village would think that Konoha had discovered their plan, and would not dare to act rashly. "You will not reveal yourself." The Chunin looked at Feng Yao helplessly, and finally struggled to die. Jumping out of the pothole, Duo has also solved another Shangnin. The other party can't make a seal. A ninja who can't use ninjutsu is naturally difficult to defeat Duo. The real Kudo-san saw this scene from a distance and his hands and feet went weak. He even thought about the possibility that Feng Yao and others would be killed. But after seeing Feng Yao's Wanmi Mahamudra, that thought has vanished. He stomped hard. "I don't know where I took out 2 million taels of silver bills and walked towards Feng Yao." Chapter 63 Akatsuki's actions. Leaf Village. In a noodle restaurant, Eel ramen was steaming hot, and a young man with yellow hair was sitting at the table and eating. There was a white-haired uncle sitting next to him, drinking a little wine and looking at the boy dotingly. If thinking of something, he sighed slightly. Naruto, I'm going to beat you out to practice in 2 days. There will be a new teacher to accompany you, so you have to prepare well. Z. Naruto took a big mouthful of noodle soup and said vaguely, Okay, I'll go back and say hello to Sasuke, Sakura and the others. The current Sasuke was sealed with the curse of the sky, and he stayed with Kakashi at ease to accept his teaching although the three were not together. But the deep bond and friendship will not go away. After a while, the bowl in front of Naruto didn't even have the soup base left. Hey, lecherous fairy, let's go. Really, you guy? The two opened the curtain and walked out. Jiraiya glanced sideways, then put on Naruto's shoulder and left. Not far away, Itachi and Ghost Shark, who were wearing fire cloud suits, were staring at Jiraiya. The Ghost Shark raised his head slightly, and the shark-like eyes were exposed under the hat. I didn't expect it to be Jiraiya, one of the 3 ninjas. That guy is very difficult to deal with. Mr. Itachi, what should we do? The Ghost Shark threw the question to Itachi, who was right next to Itachi, who could justifiably retreat. So he pretended to be deep and said, in front of that kind of person, any name is useless. You can only withdraw first, and report the information to the organization. Then I'll listen to you, 7-san, Mr. Itachi. After speaking, the two walked in the opposite direction. When passing through a corridor, the surrounding environment was quiet and strange. The Ghost Shark looked around and grabbed the shark muscle behind him in his hand. Mr. Itachi, it seems that we have been discovered. After speaking, he chopped towards the wooden wall next to him. Bang! The wooden wall was chopped to pieces, and at the same time, a burst of white smoke dissipated, revealing the Konoha village ninja hiding here. A brown hair, with a face guard-style forehead on his face. Wearing a fluffy black combat uniform with a green vest on the outside, the ninja jumped in front of the two of them. The Ghost Shark threw off the cloth strip of the shark muscle and asked in doubt, is this Konoha's joinin'? The eyes are really big. Itachi seemed to recognize the other party, and he said slowly, is it Tianzang Yamato? Long time no see. Yamato stood up and looked at the 2 men in front of him, who was ordered by Kakashi 6 Hokage. In the next period of time, he helped Naruto to practice. Today, he just met the legendary Sannin Jiraiya, but the other party asked himself to follow these 2 people. Yamato asked with some doubts, you know me. So you are also from Konoha? The opposite Itachi slowly lifted his hat, revealing a young and melancholy face with long black hair. The deep lines extending from the corners of the eyes near the nose to the eyes represent the Zu ring of Suzaku, worn on the ring finger of the right hand. He wears a necklace around his neck, and he wears a Shao, organization leader. Yamato's eyes widened. With solemn eyes, he said, I didn't expect it to be you, Konoha's S-rank rebel Uchiha Itachi, how dare you come back to Konoha? The Ghost Shark saw Itachi revealed his identity and took off his hat. He has pale blue skin, and his face seems to have traces of fish gills, looking like a human-shaped shark. Wearing a Nan ring on the ring finger of his left hand, he said contemptuously to Yamato, then let me introduce myself, my name is Gon Ghost Shark, please give me more advice. It's actually Kuryuki's rebellion, one of the 7 people of Ninja Blade. No, I can't resist 2 S-rank rebels. Yamato, who was at a disadvantage, pondered rapidly, recognizing the identity of the other party. Yamato did not dare to be careless. Fortunately, Lord Jiraiya said that he will come over in a while, and he only needs to support for a moment. Thinking of this, Yamato asked loudly, what are you trying to do when you sneak into Konoha? Itachi didn't answer directly. The 3-hook jade in his eyes slowly turned. Itachi said coldly, Tianzang, don't stop me, I don't want to kill you. Yamato frowned. Itachi, You have murdered your compatriots, and now this inexplicable dress appears in the village. I won't let you go easily. Hey, there's a lot to talk about, Mr. Itachi. I see that Konoha people don't seem to welcome you. Why don't I cut this guy? After speaking, the ghost shark raised the shark muscle and rushed over. Yamato made a mark on his hands, and pushed forward with his palms open. Wood done. The technique of silent killing and binding. From Yamato's palm, a wooden bar stretched continuously, and then it was divided into several strips that wanted to tie the ghost shark's body. Wood done. The ghost shark closed his eyes slightly and stretched his entire shark muscle in front of him. Boom, boom. The sticks sticking out entangled the ghost shark together with the muscle of the shark, and when the ghost shark saw a burst of chakra, all the wooden sticks on his body were shaken away. What an amazing chakra and power! Yamato was secretly frightened, and the ghost shark attacked again without giving the opportunity. Yamato can only passively defend first. Wooden wood ingot wall. Rows of wooden pillars on the ground are bent from the ground to form buttresses, which are like a semicircle to protect the Yamato behind. The ghost shark stepped directly on the arch, jumped into the air and slashed directly down. The shark muscle slashed firmly on Yamato's shoulder, but there was no blood splattering as expected. Instead, the body gradually turned brown and eventually turned into a piece of wood. Ghost Shark pulled out his shark muscles and glanced around. Did you use the wooden dung when he was just invisible? So where is his body now? Just as the Ghost Shark was thinking, the ground suddenly cracked. Yamato was just below him, and Yamato roared. Wood escape, the technique of the Great Forest. A number of wooden vine branches stick out from the ground to firmly bind the Ghost Shark. This time there are too many branches, and the Ghost Shark can't seem to break free for a while. Yamato drilled out of the ground. He just used the soil to sneak into the ground, and took the opportunity to attack the opponent's flaws. After controlling the Ghost Shark, Yamato made up the knife again, and he had to solve one first. Wooden, flying Naoki. Yamato clasped his hands together, and both palms turned into a wood with a sharp front, which shot at the Ghost Shark's heart. Flying Naoki passed through the body, but the Ghost Shark also melted, and finally formed a pool of water. Water separation. Not good. Yamato wanted to dodge, but a figure appeared behind him. Water escape. Water prison technique. The water that had just fallen to the ground would immediately wrap up Yamato and form a water prison trapping him, and the Ghost Shark stuck one hand in the water prison. Even if I know how to use wood escape, I'm a little careless. I'm not that easy to deal with. After speaking, the Ghost Shark made a mark with one hand, and the body separated a water body again and held the shark muscle, ready to directly result in Yamato. The art of messy lion's hair. Several strands of white hair were suddenly entangled, and the water body was directly chopped by the white hair. Seeing that the Ghost Shark was coming towards him, he could only pull out his palm to release the water prison, and jumped back to Itachi. He looked at it intently, and it was Jiraiya who had left and returned. Not only is the Ghost Shark not afraid, but even a little excited. Has the legendary Konoha Sannin started? It's an honor to play against you. Jiraiya came to Yamato's side in an instant, and a red wooden shoe that fell to the ground directly stepped on a few cracks in the ground, showing the strength of the power. I'm not hurt. It took a while to send Naruto away, sorry. Yamato finally breathed a sigh of relief when he saw Jiraiya, but when the Ghost Shark was about to rush forward again, it was stopped by Itachi. Itachi said coldly, "Stop, Ghost, you didn't come to get hurt, let's go." The Ghost Shark looked at Itachi with a serious face, and finally put away the big sword resentfully. Jiraiya would not let the other side leave easily. He had long recognized that the other side was Xiao's person. So he asked directly, "Your goal is Naruto, right? What is the purpose of your organization?" Itachi stopped, turned his head to face Jiraiya and said, "After a while, you will be left behind. Our organization will attack again, and everyone can't escape." Chapter 64 Inches the Immortal, Organization Collection. What does it mean after a while? Jirai also seemed to understand something, paused slightly, and then continued. You guys are planning to find an opportunity to attack Naruto in the next war, right? And what do you mean by everyone? You guys don't just want to catch Naruto. 1. Union Village still knows a little about Konoha's actions as Sannin, and the other party's words obviously say that when the war comes, they will make a comeback again. The ghost shark was stunned for a moment, looked at Itachi, and said in an unexpected tone, "A dozen Kazang, Mr. Itachi, it would be better not to talk to them too much." That's right, let's go. Itachi couldn't reveal too much, so he threw a smoke bomb and retreated. Yamato coughed a few times, but he couldn't breathe in the water prison just now, and he slowly recovered. He stood beside Jiraiya and asked suspiciously, "Lord Jiraiya, did you just let him go?" Jiraiya's eyes were very calm, but Yamato's eyes were puzzled. Zilai also explained, "This organization is called Shao, and it is an organization I have been tracking down. Not only these two guys, but almost all of them are extremely dangerous people. If they are left directly now, they will be shocked. I found them this time, and I'm going to track them down and find their nest." So that's the case, but this side of the village. Help me explain it. Naruto will leave it to you for the time being, and tell him to let him practice well. Yes, I see. After Jirai also explained everything, he left here with an instant technique. The camera pulls back to Union Village. The Shinwei vortex appeared, and 4 people were thrown out of it. It was Feng Yao who had just returned from Kaoyan Village. When you go, you need to walk there, but you don't have to come back. You can use the divine power space to move wherever you have seen Feng Yao. They have already found all the corpses that can be found near Kusakane, and they have also channeled many powerful ninjas. Seeing that there was not much time left, Feng Yao decided to bring everyone back to Union Village. Ling Yu looked at everything here curiously. He temporarily worked for Feng Yao as Orochimaru's assistant. This ability to control blood at will can also help Orochimaru in experiments. Yaojun, if there is nothing else, I will take this child to my laboratory first. Orochimaru couldn't wait. After all, the equipment in Kaoyan Village was outdated, so the true strength of Ling Yu could not be detected. When many people in the village saw Feng Yao and others coming back, they sent out a welcome greeting. "Lord Feng Yao, welcome back." A gentle female voice sounded, standing not far away wearing a purple ninja suit. Duo Yu, who tied his hair, also bowed slightly towards Feng Yao. "Well, the time is almost up. Tell everyone to rest well these days. We are going to prepare to attack Union Village." "Yes, please don't worry. Gaara and the others have also returned to collect information. I heard that they found the traces of Akatsuki's activities in Konoha." "Really? Then, let them meet me in my room later." After speaking, he walked into the base of Union Village and pushed open the heavy door. Accompanied by Tayuya, they walked down together. They separated at the corner, and Tayuya went to convey Feng Yao's order. Back in the room, Feng Yao leaned back on the chair, held his forehead with his fingers, and kneaded his eye sockets. "During this period of time, I used a lot of eyes. Although I won't go blind, I still feel a little tired." After a while, there was a knock on the door. "Master Feng Yao, I brought people here. Come in, I've worked hard for you all this time. I heard that you also collected information about Xiao." Taiyu also brought Xiangren and others into the room. Originally, Taiyu also wanted to bring only one person. Mainly because I didn't want to bring Xiangren, but Xiangren insisted that there was a situation that could not be repaid at the time, and strongly requested to come together, and Duo Yu could only agree. "Yeah, Lord Feng Yao, I almost thought I would never see you at that time. That big man's chakra is really amazing. Fortunately, I remembered you in a crisis, so I calmed down and finally escaped." Danger. Xiangren came in and cried about what happened to her. 90% of her acting skills would have believed it if she didn't know the truth. "Yes, is that so? It's really hard for you." Feng Yao reluctantly rubbed his temples, but he didn't hear any information after a few words. Gaara and Neji couldn't listen anymore. In the end, it was Neji to report the information. Master Fengyao, in the country of fire are Akatsuki's Uchiha Itachi and Dry Persimmon Ghost Shark. They are discussing what 9 tails to catch. In addition, although the country of wind and the country of fire are allies, but the country of wind, the relationship with the fire nation is still not repaired. Quote. 9 tails. It's about the same time. In short, since they are in the country of fire, at least it means that they were not there when they attacked Yuyan village. This is beneficial to us. As for the country of wind, it is difficult to achieve a major event. Take a good rest and inform the others, the time is running out. Fengyao pondered for a moment, and was ready to let them inform others to take a good rest and nourish their spirits. Now there is less than half a month left until the time given by the system. Fengyao has made all the preparations, this time it is bound to capture the Eye of Reincarnation. After it was all over, everyone who was listening quietly nodded to show their understanding, and then dispersed. In the next few days, in addition to rest, Fengyao also flipped through the Konoha scroll he brought back. He wanted to see if he could find any useful time-space ninjutsu, but he was disappointed, except for a flying thunder god. Fengyao set the battle time on Monday, which is the day when it will not rain in Yuyan village. Every Sunday, Pain uses the Rain Tiger Freedom Jutsu, which is a perception-type ninjutsu that mixes chakra in the rain and manipulates it. If it rains, it will be discovered by Pain in an instant. Time flies, and in the blink of an eye, it's Monday, and everyone has gathered in the lobby in the stronghold. Xian, organization customized by Orochimaru. The ivory-white tight-fitting ninja suit has a jade belt around the waist. There are several gray pockets on the clothes to store the ninja gear. There is also a golden python embroidered on the body, as if it is wrapped around the body. The forehead protection on the head has been removed. The only thing that can prove their identities is the ring on their hands, starting from Fengyao standing at the front, looking from right to left. Represent, Tian, Earth, Zan, Yellow. Yu, Zhou, Hong, Huang. Day, Month, Yin, Z. A total of 12 people, this time only the people from the Immortal Organization acted, and it would be impossible for them to come over in the country of water without Zan and others, and none of the other ninjas were brought with them. Fengyao stood in front, and everyone was looking forward to every word he said. Lightning flashed in his eyes, and he said slowly, "This mission is of great importance. It can be said that if it cannot be completed, the Immortal Organization will cease to exist, but whether it is successful or not, I hope you all remember that you are both very good ninja. I am very happy to have a subordinate like you." Quote. After finishing speaking, Fengyao showed a gentle smile. He could be ruthless towards outsiders and would do anything to achieve his goals. But he will never treat those who truly follow him. He has been preparing for this battle for a long time, in order to improve his winning rate and minimize casualties. Master Fengyao laughed. Good, handsome, ah. Tayuya and Shangrin looked like little fans, and everyone knelt down on one knee. Orochimaru said gloomily, "Don't worry, Yaojun, I will definitely put the Eye of Reincarnation into your hands, and, Xian, will definitely win." Fengyao stared around, put on a mask to cover his face, and a dull voice resounded through the hall. Go, target Yuyan village. Chapter 65-Attack Yuyan village. At the junction of the country of fire, the country of wind, and the country of earth, there is a nameless country. This is Yuyan village. Because it is at the intersection of major countries, it is often involved in wars, and it is difficult to obtain stable development opportunities. This situation until the Nagato manipulated Pain seized power. God, after defeating the Hanzo forces with his own powerful strength, and maintain the order in the village with the terrorism of the Hanzo genocide. Fengyao and others appeared outside Yuyan village. They put on cloaks to cover their appearance and figure. According to the initial assignment, they were divided into 3 teams and began to operate, and put on radios that could communicate with each other over short distances. Fengyao only knew that Nagato was hiding in the highest place, which was convenient for chakra transmission to control 6 pains. However, the buildings in Yuyan village are mainly made of steel and stand tall. There are also a considerable part of stone, and many large and small steel pipes stand up to form a unique landscape. The top of the tower in Yuran village is generally uninhabited, but Nagato and Xiaonan live on the top of the tower. In this aspect of the investigation, Xiang Rin's perception ability is still needed. Feng Yao took her to the annex of the tower to let her perceive whether there is a living person on the top. The other two teams were not idle either, and Shigego of the pocket team used the ability to communicate with animals to ask for information about pain. Sakai drew a lot of ink crows flying into the air to investigate. On a steel tower, a man dressed in a black trench coat embroidered with red clouds, Xiao organization. The hair color is light blue-purple, the eye color is light orange, the woman with a lavender paper flower on the right side of her head, purple eye shadow, and lip nails at the bottom of her lips quietly overlooks the village. A crow in the distance caught her attention, and she slowly raised her hand. She can be seen wearing a ring on the middle finger of her right hand, codenamed White. She lightly parted her red lips and murmured, "Yinyan village, there doesn't seem to be such a crow." After speaking, the palm of his hand turned into a few sheets of white paper, folded into a shuriken and flew forward. Whoosh! The crow was hit and instantly turned into a puddle of ink. At the same time, Sakai immediately sensed what happened. He roared at the radio, "I found the location of the other party, but they found it, 3 kilometers northeast." Everyone heard the news, and everyone rushed in the same direction. Xiaonan frowned slightly and said to the skinny man sitting in a huge car seat behind him, "It seems that someone has sneaked in, do you want me to deal with it?" The hoarse voice responded, "Come with pain, I want to see who is sneaking in here at this time." After he finished speaking, he stopped talking, as if the words just now seemed to have exhausted his strength. Then a man with orange hair, purple samsara eyes, and strange black sticks inserted into his body, dressed in the fire cloud suit of the Xiao organization walked out of the shadows. It was Pain who represented the way of heaven. Tian Dao's voice was sonorous and powerful. "Then let's go." As he said that, 2 Pain flashed out next to him, the animal realm and the hungry ghost realm. They jumped directly off the tower, ready to meet the incoming enemy. Xiaonan spread his wings and flew to one of the directions. When Do and the others were about to reach their destination, a voice came over. Psychic Cerberus, roar, A huge, brown-furred, 3-headed dog with nails appeared in front of them, and on top of the hellhound was Pain, the beast. Do waved his hand to stop the crowd and said, "This is a hellhound, it will split when attacked, don't attack blindly." Both Junmaro and Shigego stopped. They have already memorized all the information of the other party, and they know that it is the animal realm in the 6 realms that is coming to deal with them. Beast Dao frowned, "Do you know our information? Who are these people? They don't seem to be ninjas from the 5 major countries." But I didn't think much about it, I just grabbed it and handed it over to the human world to search the memory. He ordered the hellhound to rush up, and he channeled out the chameleon again and swallowed himself to hide his figure. Xueyu chose to be reckless. He pulled out a big sharp knife, which was made by a knife maker before he came. Although it was not as good as the 7 ninja knives, it was still a fine product. Xueyu turned on the state of the spell, and her body was covered with black lines like water waves. Water escape, the art of howling water arms. He concentrated all the water in his body to his left arm to strengthen it, and then slashed at the Cerberus head with a knife. With his increased strength, he slashed the Cerberus in half with one knife, but soon the other side grew a new head. Biting directly towards Xueyu's arm, Xueyu frowned. Using the technique of hydration, he avoided the bite and returned to Cao's side. "I didn't say that, this guy will split, how can he be reckless?" Duo was a little dissatisfied and scolded him. Xueyu scratched her head and said to please, "I'm sorry, I'm not trying to verify what Lord Fengyao said." "Okay, please help me delay it, I'm going to be reincarnated with dirty soil." "Okay, no problem." After he finished speaking, he stood in front of Do with Junmalu and Shigego. The invisible beast Dao watched this scene and passed the picture to the other 6 Dao, and at the same time summoned psychic beasts to deal with it. What kind of magic do you want to use? It's better not to give him a chance, psychic. A large gray bird with a pointed beak rushed towards it with a whistling like a pocket. And Orochimaru and his party met Xiaonan. The paper fell and the flames ignited. Orochimaru opened his mouth and reminded, "It's the detonating talisman, avoid it." Boom. Boom. Countless rubble splashed, causing dust in the sky. The cloaks of Orochimaru and others were lifted, and Xiaonan spread his wings and descended in front of Orochimaru like an angel. Xiaonan looked at Orochimaru and said slowly, "It turned out to be you, the traitor of Xiao's organization. We didn't go to you, but you came to us. You arranged this infiltration operation." Although I really want to do it, but I know I can't do it, so this time there is someone else he is. Before the words were finished, Orochimaru directly grabbed Xiaonan with his latent shadow multi-snake hand. However, Xiaonan had long been prepared for Orochimaru, dance of Shiki paper. The body turned into countless pieces of paper and escaped, and recondensed in another place. Xiaonan's eyes sank slightly, and she said coldly, "Orochimaru, in the name of God, I will impose sanctions on you." Orochimaru laughed instead of being angry, and snorted, "Just because that kid hiding in the dark wants to kill me, Orochimaru, you are nothing more than Jiraiya's apprentice, you should have killed you back then." Paper rain. Ninja. Super God fake painting. The Orochimaru team also fought with Xiaonan. Heavenly Dao and Hungry Ghost Dao came straight to Feng Yao's side, and the two directly blocked Feng Yao's way. "Your path has come to an end, tell your identities, and God will let you die in peace." Tian Dao stared coldly at the 4 people in front of him with his samsara eyes, while Feng Yao looked at Yahiko, who was transformed into Tian Dao but was not nervous. Instead, he suddenly shouted at the system. "Tian Dao's eyes are the eyes of reincarnation. Can I just buckle his eyeballs?" System despised. "Host, don't think about being lazy. Tian Dao's eyes are just a manifestation of the power of the samsara eye, not a complete samsara eye. You must have Nagato's eyes, otherwise you can rely on 6 paths pain to infinitely brush samsara." Eyes. Feng Yao was choked, thinking about it like this. There is no way but to defeat Ludao Pain and go to Nagato. He gave Gaara a look, and Gaara opened a hand at Pain. Sandbound. The sand of the gourd was exposed and quickly trapped the opposite Tiandao, while Feng Yao planned to use the divine power to absorb the opponent directly. Divine Might. Feng Yao's left eye was bloodshot again, and where the blue pupil was in focus, Pain's head began to twist. Shen Luo Tien Zheng. The space suddenly grabbed in the opposite direction and returned to its original state. Even time-space ninjutsu can bounce back. Yes, Amaterasu can bounce back, I've asked for it. Tiandao also seemed a little incredible to the blow just now. He never thought that the other party would actually know such a rare time and space ninjutsu. He raised his right hand and shouted, "Vientian Tianian." Feng Yao felt a strong pulling force, and his body flew forward uncontrollably. Chapter 66-Battle Against Heaven. Feng Yao's body flew towards Tiandao Pain quickly. Tiandao took out the black stick in his right hand and stabbed Feng Yao in the face. This black stick is something created through the yin-yang escape technique. Inside is the power of the outsider of the Eye of Reincarnation, and its main function is to block the acupoints where the enemy produces chakra, so that the enemy cannot use the chakra to launch various ninjutsu smoothly. Is it so easy to get it? Tian Dao looked at Feng Yao, who seemed to have no resistance, and felt that something was wrong, but he still stabbed it. But the black stick passed through his head, and Tian Dao's right hand passed through Feng Yao's head. After completely passing through Feng Yao's head, Feng Yao's right hand held his wrist, and Feng Yao's right eye immediately opened, and the terrifying suction directly pulled Pain. God. Luo. Tianzheng. 5 seconds have passed. Feng Yao was directly thrown out by the powerful repulsion bomb, and the space returned to its original state. Looking at Feng Yao flying out, Pain secretly calculated the time of Shen Luo Tianzheng. He was secretly surprised. Do you actually know time-space ninjutsu? Being able to open and absorb others seems to be very similar to him, and there is also a time-space ninjutsu that is immune to attacks. It materializes when attacking, which is very troublesome. Where's the guy? Shen Luo Tianzheng's time just passed a second. Flying Thunder God Technique. Feng Yao appeared in front of Tiandao again. He just didn't think he could suck Tiandao Pain in. The purpose was just to plant the Flying Thunder God Technique on his right hand. The palm of his hand stretched out to Tiandao again to suck him into the divine power space, but the other party's yin and yang escape black stick also stabbed, and Feng Yao could only open the blur again to avoid the damage. 2 seconds. 3 seconds. After the whole body passed through the black stick, Feng Yao was ready to attack again. The hungry ghost road on the side also rushed over, preparing to cooperate with the attack when Feng Yao materialized, so that Feng Yao had no chance to open the Shenwei space to attract people. 4 seconds passed. If there is time, he will definitely avoid damage from Hungry Ghost Dao's attack. There is no way to activate the ability that can absorb me. My Shen Luo Tianzheng has 1 second left. Tiandao Pain calculated that Feng Yao did not have time to absorb himself, and as long as Shen Luo Tianzheng recovered, he would bounce Feng Yao away as soon as possible. The Hungry Ghost Dao's attack was approaching, and Feng Yao's hand was about to touch the Heavenly Dao. At this time, Feng Yao's face showed a deep smile, but in Tiandao Pain's eyes, the other party's face changed drastically. Nagato hurriedly wanted to control Hungry Ghost Road to retreat, but it was too late. Feng Yao directly turned around, facing the Hungry Ghost, clenched his fists together, and sent out a shock-wave-like attack. 6 types of profound truth and 6 King's Spear. The 6 forms are pure physical arts, which cannot be absorbed by the Hungry Ghost realm, at such a close distance. Hungry Ghost Dao's entire chest was smashed to pieces, the black Shao tissue fire cloud suit was all shattered, blood poured out of his mouth, and flew out backwards. 5 seconds. Tiandao Pain used Shen Luo Tianzheng against Feng Yao, and the repulsion force several times higher than just hit Feng Yao directly. Due to the use of the 6 forms profound truth, Feng Yao was unable to activate the blurring, so he resisted this attack, and was bounced thousands of meters, even hitting a dozen steel towers before stopping. Even Feng Yao's physique was broken in many places, and he spat out a few mouthfuls of blood. However, the restoring force of the cells between the columns quickly played a role, and Feng Yao quickly repaired the injury of the body. And Gara used the manipulating sand to immediately wrap and seal the Hungry Ghost Dao that had just been knocked out, and took out a few seal scrolls to stick to it. This can ensure that the animal will not be channeled away, which is what Feng Yao told me before the war. Because the other party can resurrect Pain's Hell Road has not yet appeared, if you are directly handed over to the Hell Road to be resurrected by the Psychic Walk, then everything you do will be in vain. Feng Yao didn't plan to suck that pain into the space from the beginning, and even if he absorbed it, he would still be summoned to his side by the other party using psychics. His target has always been the Hungry Ghost Dao next to him, and attacking the Heavenly Dao is to attract attention and let the other party relax their vigilance. He had arranged for everyone before the attack, and the Hungry Ghost Realm and Hell Realm were priority targets for killing. One can absorb almost all ninjutsu, and one can revive other pain. Now that the Hungry Ghost Realm is dead, the goal is half achieved. Master Feng Yao, how dare you bastard! Shang Rin looked at the distance with worry, and looked at Tiandao full of anger. Don't worry, I'm fine. Feng Yao directly flew back to the battlefield again, and Ningqi and others all had the Flying Thunder God technique, and it only took a moment to rush over. Tiandao Pain also carefully looked at the man in front of him, and the other party had a very comprehensive grasp of his own information. He knows the secret of his Shinra Tianzheng, and his ninjutsu is very strong, and he has a fighting mind. Tiandao said slowly, it seems that what you wanted to solve at first was Hungry Ghost Road. Why do you know so much about my information? Who are you? What are you here for? Of course Pain couldn't have thought that the other party had come through, and he even suspected that someone in the organization had deliberately leaked his information. During the conversation, he had ordered the other pain to solve the battle as soon as possible and rushed here. It was difficult for him to defeat the other four when he knew the weakness. On the other side, in a dark crypt, a huge wooden statue stands in the center, with complex patterns on its body, iron handcuffs and shackles on its hands and feet, and 9 closed eyes on its head. Eerie. In front of the golem is a man wearing a swirl-shaped orange mask with only his right eye exposed, wearing a red cloud suit of Akatsuki, wearing a black one-piece bodysuit, 2 shoulders each with 3 protective gears, and a Uchiha clan riding wheel. Eyed man. When Obito was about to leave, a green Venus flytrap suddenly appeared on the ground next to it. With its huge leaves open, a black and white figure appeared inside. He said in a low voice, "Something happened over Nagato, someone has invaded Yuyan village," and it was a young man wearing a white golden snake suit, a white mask, blue pupils, and he also time-space ninjutsu, very similar to yours. After listening to Obito, he turned his head and looked around. He already knew who the other party was. It was the person who met him in the Shinwei space a few days ago. It was incredible that the other party could use the same pupil technique as himself, and he knew a lot of his secrets, and now even Nagato was attacked. Who the hell is this guy who knows me so well and I don't know anything about him? It's not that Obito didn't get some relevant information, but there are too few useful things. According to the appearance, the final lock was a young man named Feng Yao from Konoha village. But this information is really messy, and it will say that the other party is a spy planted by other countries in Konoha, and that the other party has a powerful immortal technique. Later, it was said that the opponent and the Orochimaru and Sand Ninja allied attacked Konoha. Finally, he said that the other party was Konoha's rebellion, killed the 5th Hokage, and captured Orochimaru. The most exaggerated thing is to say that the other party is only 13 years old, which is simply nonsense. Obito scoffed at this statement, and even scolded Baiju, who was in charge of intelligence collection. Can a 13-year-old spy kill the 5th Hokage? That's a fucking spy. And how could a 13-year-old master such a powerful ninjutsu? Although Obito only had a relationship with the other party, but he knew that the other party was scheming and clever, and actually said that the other party was only 13 years old. Although I don't know what Feng Yao's purpose is to attack Yuyan village, there is no room for mistakes in Samsara Eye. He turned to the Venus flytrap next to him and asked, "There are a few people who are closest to the Shao organization and can spare their hands." Ju responded immediately, "The team of Itachi Uchiha and Kazuki, as well as the team of Deidara and Scorpion are not far away, and there is no task at hand." Obito nodded, then immediately opened the Kamui space in his right eye and absorbed himself into it. He was going to take Akatsuki to support Nagato. And Ju stood in place and didn't move. The black part next to him looked indifferently at the place where Obito disappeared. Why did such a person suddenly appear in the ninja world, as if he jumped out of thin air? If you can make good use of him, it seems to be a better pawn. After he finished speaking, he slowly sank into the ground, and the cave fell into silence again. Chapter 67-2 Shadow Level Combat Power. Uchiha Itachi and dried persimmon Ghost Shark were walking on the mountain road, and their heavy footsteps kicked up a little dust on the ground. Since they left Konoha, they have been wandering around the country of fire, on the one hand to seek information, and on the other hand to wait for the opportunity. A dozen Kazang, Mr. Itachi, that Jiraiya seems to have been with us for a long time. Is it okay to be like this? Ghost Shark turned to Itachi and said. After Jiraiya followed them for a while, Itachi discovered the trail, but Itachi didn't break Jiraiya, just took him around in circles. It's okay, just let him follow, we haven't done much anyway, and we may not be able to beat him. Hey, how do you know if you don't try? I'm very excited to be able to play against Sanin. At this moment, a vortex of divine power appeared in front of Itachi, and Obito walked out from it. In a cold voice, he said, Shao's organization is under attack, come with me quickly. Here comes the absolute. The ghost shark saw Obito's writing wheel eyes shrank, and said in surprise, "It's you. It's been a long time since I saw you. Is it such a big news?" Itachi looked at Obito and didn't speak, just frowned slightly. Now Obito has not joined Akatsuki, but is manipulating behind the scenes. So Itachi has rarely seen each other since the genocide operation that year, but the other party's writing wheel eyes still let Itachi recognize it at a glance. "Don't hesitate. Nagato is very dangerous. Even Orochimaru is here. Wait. Are you being followed?" Heiju urged a few people, but then found Jiraiya hiding not far away. The ghost shark said nonchalantly, "Hee, the tail that followed when I went to Konoha village has been around for a while." Obito's eyes narrowed slightly, not knowing what he was thinking, and Zillai also didn't plan to hide when he saw that he was discovered. A voice with a strong heroic accent came over. "It's a worthwhile trip to meet so many Akatsuki members, Kushichi Fortress Spiritualism." A big toad descended from the sky and landed in front of the four of them, with Jiraiya standing above his head. "This time, I really heard incredible information, and someone dared to attack the Shao organization." He still knew a thing or two about Akatsuki's strength. Ordinary countries couldn't fight against Akatsuki, let alone attack him. "Moreover, I have inquired about the information for a long time, and I have never even heard of Xiao Laochao, and the other party actually has such strength." This also made Jiraiya wonder who the attacker was. But when he stared at the masked man, he suddenly discovered something incredible, and he pointed at Obito's eyes. "This, eyes, can't you, Uchiha has been exterminated. Who are you?" Jiraiya also questioned Obito, and he couldn't help but suspect a man who should have died, that legendary man, Madara Uchiha. But Obito Kazuo obviously didn't plan to talk nonsense with him, they had more important things to do. Spore art. Suddenly something similar to Shirai appeared on Jiraiya's body and wrapped him, and these things were still absorbing his chakra. Baiju's spore technique is very concealed, the spores cannot be detected until they grow, and even if the body dies, it will not disappear. And Obito took the opportunity to activate the right eye of Kamui to absorb the ghosts and others to leave, and never stay to entangle Jiraiya. Fire escape, fire bomb. Jiraiya made a seal, and used fire escape to roast several of the Shirai on his body into charcoal, but Obito had already left, leaving only the sound of echoing. "Jiraiya, take care of yourself, sooner or later, the nine-tailed Manzuli will be our thing." Looking at the place where Obito disappeared, Jiraiya's face was ugly. Part of it was because the other party ran away, and more importantly, he found out that the other party's time-space ninjutsu was exactly the same as Feng Yao's. Did they know each other? Or was Tsunade just kidnapped by Akatsuki? With doubts, Jiraiya can only focus on Ju. Seeing that Obito had already evacuated, he naturally didn't want to stay any longer, so he launched the mayfly technique to sneak into the ground, and Zillai also punched the air. "The other party doesn't want to fight with me at all. It seems that Akatsuki's situation is really bad. It would be great if the attacking force could wipe out Akatsuki in one fell swoop, but such an extra force would be an enemy or a friend." Jiraiya frowned deeply. Another point was that he was very worried about Tsunade's safety. Beast rode this way. After making a seal with his hands, he summoned two huge coffins. Reincarnation of the dirt. The coffin was opened, and one of them was a man covered in bandages, and the other was a man with no eyebrows, a mustache and a mustache. The two saw each other as soon as they came out. Mew, the second generation of water shadow ghosts and magic moons, who perished together in the first ninja war. These two are the two shadow-level combat powers that Do found. They died together, so it was very easy. Beast Dao frowned after seeing it. Now he has no time to support Tiandao, and he is also in danger. Ghost Lantern Wanyu turned around and saw Wu shouting. "Hey, didn't you, the bandage man, be sent to the west by me? Why are you still alive? Small shit, mustache, didn't you die in my hands too?" This seems to be the ninjutsu of the second generation Naruto. It's really indiscriminate, summoning the souls of the dead to the world. Wu first responded to Ghost Lantern Wanyu, and then looked down at his body. I am sorry, two seniors. I need you to help us for some reasons. As soon as Do said the seal, the soil on the two people disappeared completely, and they became like living people. Oh, it's really troublesome to ask others for help in this way. Wait, are you from the Ghost Lantern family? Ghost Lantern Wanyu was just complaining when he suddenly saw Xueyu with his arms hydrated. Xueyu was also stunned for a moment, and the tone on the other side seemed to be the same. He asked suspiciously, Uncle, are you from the Ghost Lamp family too? As soon as these words came out, the blue veins burst out on Ghost Lantern Wanyu's head, and he went up and gave Xueyu a shudder. It makes no sense, you junior, I'm almost from your grandfather's generation, you dare to call me uncle. Xueyu scratched her head angrily, and just as she was about to speak, the beast had already started. Spirituality. The animal Dao was active, and a huge rhinoceros was summoned again to charge towards the crowd. Well, do you want to beat my descendants? If you let you kill my Ghost Lamp clan in front of me, I have to lose face, psychics. Ghost Lantern Wanyu originally looked slack, but when she saw Xueyu, she came to her mind and was ready to perform well in front of her descendants. After the smoke, a huge clam appeared, its hard shell easily blocking the rhino's impact. Magic Steaming Pavilion. The giant clams spit out a wide range of dense fog from their tentacles, creating super large mirages. And the dense fog will transform into a ghost phantom avatar after the meeting, so as to confuse the enemy, so that the enemy cannot find the real location of the ghost lantern and the big clam. It can nullify the opponent's attack, and the magic moon can penetrate the enemy's attack in this state. The Art of Water and Iron Cannon. A stream of water appeared in the air like a bullet, easily piercing the rhino's head. The rhino roared and lay down weakly, blood flowing from the wound on his head. Wu also launched an attack on the Cerberus beside him under the control of the pocket. Wu formed a cylindrical enchantment in his hand and launched it at the opponent. Dust Escape. The art of peeling the realm. The cylinder enchantment enveloped the Cerberus and a violent explosion occurred. The entire body of the Cerberus was separated into an atomic state and vanished into ashes, with no chance of splitting at all. There is also a bastard in the sky, which swooped down. Seeing this, Junmalu turned on the second spell, and the skin all over his body was dark, black lines appeared in his eyes, and there was an extra tail behind him. He stretched his back to his back, pulled out his spine, and flung it like a midair, entangling the 8 Chinooks and pulling it down. Ga! Yatagaragi screams. Bone vein dance of wire flowers. The most hardened bone in Junmaru's right hand was used as a spear to pierce the neck of Yatagarat, and the blood rained in the sky. The beast Dao Pain's psychic beast has been mostly solved. The addition of the second generation of Water Shadow and second generation of Earth Shadow instantly turned the tide of the battle. Chapter 68 Akatsuki's support. Seeing this situation, even Nagato, who was secretly manipulating it, was struggling. The way of heaven is entangled, and the way of beasts can't be beaten. Xiaonan doesn't know what's going on. The intelligence of the other three paths is estimated to be familiar to the other party, and he is in a dilemma. At this moment, Ju's body emerged. He said in a low voice, "Don't worry, he has already come to help you. You mobilize all your combat power to Tiandao." Nagato glanced at Ju, and before he notified them, the other party already knew the news here, and he was obviously monitoring him, but now is not the time to pursue it. He manipulated the Hell Road, the Human Road, and the Asura Road to Fengyao. However, Nagato silently looked towards a place outside the building after doing all this. That was the direction Xiaonan was going. Paper spear. Xiaonan let out a coquettish drink, and threw the spear made of folded paper at Orochimaru. But he was easily evaded by the opponent's magical software transformation, and Orochimaru stretched his neck directly and stabbed at Xiaonan with a Kusanagi sword from his mouth. But what was stabbed was a piece of paper, and Xiaonan was mixed with a detonating talisman, and Orochimaru immediately retracted his neck. Boom! Boom! It's not easy to defeat Xiaonan with pure physical attacks, because the opponent's paperwork can be easily cracked. But Tsunade obviously didn't think so. As soon as she stepped on her feet, the whole street where Orochimaru and others were standing shattered with a bang. Flying in front of Xiaonan, he directly used the strange force to swipe at the opponent. Xiaonan used the paper form again, but the part of the paper that Tsunade touched was directly smashed into powder by the terrifying force. Seeing this scene, Xiaonan's orange pupils shrank slightly. What a terrible power! Is this Tsunade, one of the three ninjas? But how could he be with Orochimaru? Just as she was about to fly away, the melodious sound of the flute came over. Magic flute. Dream sound lock. Facing the two Sanin is too exhausting, so I didn't pay too much attention to Duoyu. Her consciousness came to a mysterious red space where she was tied to a post. This was an illusion, and Xiaonan hurriedly hit the spirit. Illusion. Solution. Xiaonan's consciousness returned to the battlefield again, but although it was only a few seconds, there was so much he could do. Tsunade punched Xiaonan, who had not arrived, to the ground, and a mouthful of blood poured out of Xiaonan's mouth. She took a few breaths slowly, and the blow just now shattered a few of her bones, although it hurt. But her eyes were still firm. She supported herself to stand up. She knew that she might be in danger, or even die here. But she doesn't care. She is Nagato, the backbone of Yahiko, and she will help them achieve their ideals, even if it costs her own life. Xiaonan stood up and stretched out his hand again, and the paper began to spread out from his hand. I will not forgive anyone who wants to stop God. Orochimaru is the order of God. I will kill you. Humph, don't call that little devil one god. There is no such existence in this world. If there is, I think I have found it. Orochimaru spoke with disdain. He believed in science, and he would not pursue such things as gods and ghosts. Xiaonan took a deep breath just as she was about to use her trump card. A vortex of divine power appeared beside Xiaonan. Orochimaru wondered, is it Yaojun? No, it should be the masked man, he said. He has the same ability as Yaojun. Fengyao just told everyone about Obito's ability. As for the identity, Fengyao has not yet said. The deep voice of the masked man came from the whirlpool. I'll leave it to you here. I'll go to support Nagato. The Shinwei vortex threw out two people and disappeared again. Orochimaru saw one of them with a solemn expression, and even cold sweat broke down. The man had long black hair, extending from the corner of his eyes near his nose to the deep lines under his eyes. The Zu, representing Suzaku, was worn on the ring finger of his right hand, with a necklace on his neck, and he was wearing the Shao organization. It was Uchiha Itachi, and next to him was his teammate, Shikigaki. Orochimaru didn't dare to be careless, and reminded the surrounding in a low voice. Don't look into Itachi's eyes. You should have read the information. Illusion moon reading is not a joke, so is the ghost shark next to it. Don't keep it. Duoyuya and the others nodded, and turned on the second spell. Duoyuya's skin turned black, horns grew on his head, and the whites of his eyes turned black. Sakai's body was first covered with black feather lines, and then the whole body became black, with bat-like wings growing out of his back. His face was covered with black eyeshadow like a mask, and his left arm became very wide, as if he could draw on it. Same. The yin seal mark on Suna's hand began to spread outward, and the curse mark spread all over the body. Ninjutsu creation and regeneration, the technique of 100 heroes. Itachi looked calmly when he saw Tsunade. He couldn't help but slowly said, as even Princess Konoha Tsunade in the company of a betrayal like Orochimaru. I don't think you are like this. In the end, Itachi's eyes suddenly became sharp, and he had only looked at Orochimaru and Tsunade before. But when he looked at a little girl behind Orochimaru, he couldn't calm down. It was a kaleidoscope writing wheel, a black pattern like a shuriken at the four corners. Those were the eyes of his best friend Shisui, who should have been there, but Danzo should have been killed by the village's rebel ninja Fuyao. Itachi immediately understood why Tsunade was with Orochimaru, knowing that it was controlled by other gods. At the same time, he also knew that the person who attacked Xiao was Feng Yao. He turned his head to the ghost shark and said, "Help me hold Orochimaru and Tsunade, I have something to do." Hey, give me 2 sanin at once, Mr. Itachi, you are really optimistic about me." After speaking, the ghost shark dragged the shark muscle broadsword and rushed up, and the shark muscle attacked Tsunade with a sharp piercing sound. Tsunade snorted coldly, jumped into the sky and stomped on the ghost shark. Painful feat. The conceivable scene of kicking the opponent flying did not appear, and it became a very ordinary kick without any chakra. Sure enough, this knife can absorb the opponent's chakra. Tsunade kicked again, turned over and returned to Orochimaru. The strength of the ghost shark was also ranked before the test in Shaoli, and the chakra volume was comparable to the tail beast. The ghost shark had seals on his hands, his mouth bulged slightly, and chakra gathered behind his throat. Water escape blast water rush. The ghost shark spit out enough water to form a lake from his mouth to impact Orochimaru and others, and he stood on the top of the water wave. Sakai next to him waved his pen and drew a huge ink eagle directly on his left hand, which looked much stronger than before. The 3 of them dragged Orochimaru directly to the sky. Clam. The ghost shark raised his head and looked at the strange face of Orochimaru in midair. "How can you still fly? Do a dozen nanasong, Mr. Itachi, a favor." Itachi looked at the location of Sai, and made a seal on his hand, condensing the chakra into flames. Fire escape how fireball technique. A huge fireball flew directly to Mo Ying, hit directly, and Mo Ying turned into a ball of ink again. Orochimaru and others could only be forced to fall down, and the ghost shark slashed again with a knife. Shimmering snake hand. Orochimaru didn't plan to dodge either, so countless black pythons appeared in his right hand to bind the ghost shark firmly, and Tsunade took this opportunity to punch the ghost shark's left face with a punch. Almost at the moment of contact, the whole face of the ghost shark distorted abnormally, and a lot of teeth collapsed and flew to the side of the room. Boom. The ghost shark fell into the steel ruins on the side. But Itachi used the Xianju technique to come to Tayuya, and grabbed Shisui's eyes with his fingers. Orochimaru secretly screamed badly. But Taiyu was also quick to respond, and immediately ducked back, then turned a somersault to distance himself from Itachi. Tayuya was also sweating in shock just now, and his eyes were almost taken away. This is Shisui's eyes, and it is the key to controlling Tsunade. If it falls into the hands of others, it will be unimaginable. Duoyu also said to Itachi, "It's not so easy to take this eye away. The adults trust me to give it to me. I won't let you have the opportunity to take it away." But Itachi just pointed lightly in the direction of Orochimaru and the others, and Duoyu also found that they were all gone, and when he turned his head, Itachi also turned into a crow circling. "When you just avoided my attack, you were already hit by my illusion. The eyes of Zishui cannot be abused by you." Saying that, the crow rushed towards Zishui's eyes. Chapter 69 Don't God Be Broken. Tayuya covered his right eye in pain, and Orochimaru and the others looked at Itachi with more cautious eyes, and they were able to perform illusions with just a moment's contact. Orochimaru and Sai came to Tayuya to protect her. And the kaleidoscope writing wheel eyes that Duoyu also covered slowly returned to Sangoyu, and the illusion of Bitianshin was unlocked. Tsunade on the side froze for a moment, then shook her head. Her rewritten will has been restored. Although she was under control during this time, she knew everything about what happened. Orochimaru glanced at Tsunade, knowing that the other party had solved the illusion, and gave Itachi a higher look. He said with gloomy eyes, "Tsunade, it seems that you have recovered. What are you going to do now? Do you want to unite with Xiao, and fight against us?" Now Orochimaru is killing Tsunade, and the other party knows too much information about Xian. The ghost sharks and others on the side were a little puzzled, so Itachi explained to them about the other gods. Ghost Shark was surprised and said, "I didn't expect such a terrible illusion in the world. It's an honor to be lucky enough to see it. You can directly control Tsunade, one of the 3 ninjas. Now your illusion is broken. Don't want to thank us. After the ghost shark finished speaking, he looked at Tsunade, who was far away from the battlefield. The current battlefield situation is not good. Itachi and Ghost Shark are both of the proper shadow level. Although Xiaonan is not as good as the two, it should not be underestimated. On the other hand, Orochimaru, although it is a shadow level, was perfectly restrained by Itachi, and Duoyu was defeated by the opponent in 1 round, so Sakai could not be the opponent of the Ghost Shark. The most terrible thing is that there is a time bomb Tsunade. No matter which side she helps, it will affect the battle situation. As for Tsunade herself, she has fully seen the horror of the organization, Sen, during this period of time. Mysterious time and space ninjutsu, extremely precise intelligence information, complete control of the column cells, and more talents. She was afraid of Xian for the first time. Although she also knew Xiao's information and knew that the other party was stronger than Xian, the establishment of Xian was very short, and the upper limit was higher than that of Xiao. But she doesn't plan to help these 2 organizations. These 2 are harmful to Konoha, even to the ninja world, and she wishes that the 2 organizations would die together here. Tsunade turned around and said, "Your Xiao is not a good thing either. Orochimaru told Fengyao that I will avenge this hatred of him for manipulating me. I swear in the name of Sanin." After speaking, he stepped on his feet and left here. Looking at Tsunade, who was getting farther and farther, the ghost shark showed a big mouth full of fangs. He sneered, "Orochimaru, it seems that you are bound to die today. Xiao has been chasing you for so long, and you are not easy." Itachi interrupted, "Don't say more, you go and kill Orochimaru, I'm going to get Shishui's eyes." Cold sweat appeared on Orochimaru's head. "Looks like I'm in trouble now." Beast Dao was grabbed by Ghost Lantern Wanyu's head with one hand at this moment. The body is already devastated. It was injured by the high-temperature steam, the left arm was cut off by Chigan, and he has lost his fighting power. Ghost Lantern Wanyu raised his brows and said disdainfully, "Don't look down on me, little devil, a few psychic beasts dare to fight with me." Then he threw the person on the ground at will, and Kao immediately used the sealing scroll to seal the animal realm. "Don't be smug about the mustache, it's just hitting a junior. Are this guy's eyes the legendary reincarnation eyes? I really didn't expect to see such legendary eyes." Without hesitation, he mocked Ghost Lantern and Wanyu. The 2 were tit for tat when they were alive, and the last battle was the same. However, they have always recognized each other as their good opponents, and in the end the 2 of them died together in the battlefield as what they expected. But at this time, a low voice came from the sky. "Then let us be your opponents, hum hum hum, pocket. Long time no see tilde. Don't be careless, big brother Scorpion, that man covered in bandages is not easy. He is the 2nd-generation soil shadow of Yenian village, and he has mastered the elimination of blood and dust. If he is hit, he will be scum. There's nothing left." A vortex of divine power appeared in front of the pocket, and 2 people came out from it. One is hiding in Fei Liuhu, wearing a black trench coat embroidered with red clouds in the Xiao organization costume, with a double mechanism device on the left hand, a grimace on the back, and a scorpion-like tail made of iron sticks out of the grimace's hole. The other has a blonde head, and his left eye is blocked by hair, which hangs down below his face. There are pigtails on the top of his head. He is wearing a black trench coat embroidered with red clouds, Xiao organization, and his eyes are blue and black with black eyeliner. It was Scorpion and Deidara. Scorpion narrowed his eyes when he saw Do. The relationship between Do and Scorpio was unusual. Do was a spy sent by Scorpion to Orochimaru to get the data of Orochimaru's reincarnation. And now it seems that this technology is very mature. It's just that he didn't know that Do was a double agent, and the poison had already been solved by Orochimaru. Do held up his glasses and put his left hand on his waist. He smiled and said, "Lord Scorpion, it's been a long time since I saw you. I didn't expect to meet you in this situation. What do you think about my reincarnation control? Scorpion nodded with satisfaction. Yes, it's perfect. It seems that you already know the experimental data of the reincarnation of the dirty earth well. Now you don't have to be under Orochimaru. Kill all these people, and then I will unravel them. Your poison, you will stay under my hands and do things in the future. After Scorpio finished speaking, he pointed out that we were like dough and gave orders, and everyone next to him listened to it as if he was facing a great enemy, and looked at Dough cautiously. Junmalu's eyes were even more murderous. Pocket slowly formed the seal to control the second generation of Tsuchikage, and a conical enchantment appeared in his hand. No problem, Lord Scorpion, I'll manipulate them to kill you. After speaking, the barrier on Wu's hand was pushed out, and a huge white beam of light rushed towards the two of them. Dust escape, the art of peeling the realm. Wherever the circular white light beam went, it instantly turned into fly ash. Scorpion didn't dare to be careless, and escaped directly from Fei Liuhu. Fei Liuhu disappeared into the beam of light, and Deidara threw a bird-shaped clay into the air. Deidara fled into the air and laughed loudly. Brother Scorpion, it seems that you discipline your subordinates in a normal way. Do you want me to clean him up for you? It was very interesting to see the Scorpion shriveled. Hearing Deidara's sarcasm, Scorpion snorted coldly. Don't worry about it, I'll do it myself. As he said that, he pulled off his cloak to reveal his own body, a red-haired, handsome young man, but from the organs on his chest and the lines on his body, it could be seen that he was a personal puppet. Taking a deep breath, Master Scorpion, so this is your body. I didn't expect you to be much younger than I thought. It's really just like Master Feng Yao said. Scorpion may not have a good face. He said coldly, how dare you betray me? Don't worry, I won't kill you directly, I will torture you until you tell the secret of the reincarnation of the dirty earth. Before he finished speaking, Dough had already controlled the two big shadows and Shuiyu and everyone greeted Scorpion and Deidara. Boom, boom. The camera is pulled back to Tiandao Pain. Feng Yao looked at Tiandao. I know everything that happened in the ninja world, your establishment, your identity, purpose, and your true body hiding in the tower. After finishing speaking, Gara condensed sand in the air, and Feng Yao rushed towards the top of the tall tower in front of him. Tiandao Pain was frightened and angry. You can't even think about going up, Wanxiang Tianian. As soon as the voice fell, a gravitational force shrouded Feng Yao. However, Feng Yao had already turned his body into a virtual form. Without any pause at all, Feng Yao rushed straight to the tower. The next moment Feng Yao's entire body suddenly exploded. Boom! Black smoke filled the air, and there was a burnt smell in the air. That was the effect of Huodun, but no one on the scene used Huodun. Feng Yao was shot down, and most of his clothes were damaged, revealing solid muscles. A little burn from the flames healed at a speed visible to the naked eye. So it is, Feng Yao nodded slowly, since you are here, why hide in the Shenwei space, come out. The Shenwei vortex appeared, and Obito walked out of it with a flame fan, and he was fully prepared to face Feng Yao. At the same time, the Hell Road, the Human Road, and the Asura Road also arrived at the same time, standing beside the Heavenly Road together. Chapter 70_Earth blasting stars, but that's it. Long time no see, Feng Yao, I didn't expect you to choose to attack. Xiao, you and Konoha have a grudge. I don't think we should be enemies. Since you know my plan, you should understand that I want to create ideals, a world without wars, disputes, and a beautiful world where anything can be achieved. Obito stared at Feng Yao and said slowly. Feng Yao took a step back and said coldly and arrogantly, HMPH, Uchiha tilde Madara, I'll call you that for the time being. When Feng Yao called his name, he pulled a long tone, indicating that he knew his identity. Everything I want can be achieved here, without the help of your so-called plan. My ability is 100 times better than yours, and you are actually not as firm as you think. Feng Yao did not directly dismantle Obito's identity, which did not benefit him at all, and disclosing his identity would not necessarily improve his winning rate. On the contrary, holding his true identity in his hand can make him slightly jealous. The Eye of the Moon project is a scam from beginning to end. Although it is true that people can live in a false world and dream of the most beautiful things, what is lost after all. This is a kind of self-deception. With Soil it does the opposite. Treating this world as false, so wantonly destroying it, it doesn't matter what the world has become, he will create a real and beautiful world, a world with Lin. But in the end, Naruto forced his mouth to escape and regained his dream of becoming a Hokage. As soon as Feng Yao's words were finished, Obito's face under the mask was full of vigilance and caution. The intentional pause just now means that Feng Yao already knows his true identity. No more than 3 people know this information. It can be said that it is as secret as the Eye of the Moon project. How did it leak out? But Obito is also not very personable. He quickly adjusted his mentality. He chuckled. If that's the case, then we have to fight, but your avatar is no longer available. I just left a lot of deployments in the Shinwei space. As long as you become blurred, you will be beaten into a sieve. What is the purpose of your attacking Xiao? It is not just a cup of tea, right? Feng Yao's brows twitched slightly when he heard it, but he quickly relaxed. He said mysteriously, then you have to guess for yourself, maybe I am doing it for justice. After speaking, Feng Yao bit his finger and communicated with his psychic beast. Spirituality. The 5 ghosts of the underworld. 5 gigantic ghosts straddled Kawayo and Obito, making a deafening howl. Roar. After such a long time, the 5 ghosts finally came back to life, and this is probably the last time they will be loyal to themselves. Ningqi and the others did not fall behind, and attacked Obito and the others together. Gossip breaking the mountain. Sand waterfall burial. Feng Yao threw several flying thunder gods nearby, ready to use flying thunder gods at all times. Pain looked indifferent when he saw these ninjutsu. This kind of attack is impossible to hurt himself, the only thing he has to be careful about is Feng Yao. Tiandao slowly stretched out his right hand. Shen Luo Tianzheng. This time, the power he controlled was even stronger, and the terrifying repulsion bounced off all the ninjutsu together with the 5 ghosts again. Shira Road took the opportunity to open his wrist and pulled out a string of missiles from the arm incision. A lot of mucus seeped out of it. He raised his arm high and aimed at Feng Yao and others. 5-finger missile. The voice fell, and several missiles were launched, flying towards Feng Yao and others. The sand on the ground formed a shield, and Gaara blocked all the missiles with sand. Feng Yao thought silently in his heart, the art of flying thunder god. Taking advantage of the cooling time of Tiandao's Shenluo Tianzheng, he took the opportunity to approach Tiandao again, and clenched kunai in his hand. Flying thunder god slash. But Obito and Tiandao had long been prepared, and it was almost the moment Feng Yao appeared. The black stick in Tiandao's hand and the sickle with soil have already stabbed at Feng Yao. At this time, if Feng Yao does not go, he can only use the blur to avoid. Feng Yao chose the former, and used the Flying Thunder God's second stage teleport again to come to a 3-pronged Kuwuxian near the Hell Realm. He chose the dead corner of the Eye of Reincarnation, which would prevent the opponent from evading in time. Feng Yao rushes directly to the Hell Road. Flying Thunder God slash. The body of Hell Dao was directly penetrated by Feng Yao. The body slowly lay down, and Feng Yao grabbed it and threw it to Gaara to seal. Then he said plainly, "You can hit the same trick twice, but unfortunately you are not playing with your main body. If your main body is at the peak state, I am definitely not your opponent now, and now you only have the human world, the Asura Road and the Its Heaven. There is no fighting power in the human world, and Feng Yao has reminded everyone of the ability of the human world, so he will not let the opponent get close." But Tiandao Pain did not respond. Asura Road took off his clothes directly, channeled out the armor of the mechanism, and fully armed himself. Even some equipment that did not seem to belong to the Naruto world, he directly attacked Feng Yao, and Obito's left-hand sickle and right-hand flame fan also came to cooperate. Tiandao Pain went to deal with Gaara and the others and the psychic beasts. Obito's mouth bulged slightly, and chakra transformed into flames and spewed out. Fire escape. The technique of impatience. Like the seeds of the original fairy flower that flew out of the missile at the touch, the flames spit out from Obito's mouth spread out in all directions, attacking Fengyao. And all the flames are controlled by chakra. It is not easy to avoid them all. In addition to being extremely visual, the power is also amazing. Obito tried his best to include all the kunai with the Flying Thunder God technique, and then attacked by Shira Road. Sawtooth penetration. Although Fengyao can't be blurred now, he can almost perfectly crack ninjutsu and taijutsu. Every time, when the flame is just about to fall on him, he evades the God of Thunder in time, and at the last moment, he launched a counterattack against Shira Road. He held the serrations behind the Asura Road, lifted the iron block directly, and slammed the serrations together with his body into the ground. Boom! The suppressed Asura Dao head suddenly opened like a lotus flower. Ready to fire a laser cannon, the blue energy accumulated to the top of the head, ready to launch an attack. This move hit the six-tailed man Zhu Liu Hai in the original book. Fengyao did not intend to indulge, just before he was about to attack. Fengyao held Shira Dao with one hand, Flying Thunder God's art. Fengyao and Shira Dao moved to Tian Dao's side together. I'll give it back to you, you're welcome. Boom! A huge explosion sounded, and Fengyao used the Flying Thunder God to return to the place unharmed. Even if blur can't be used, Fei Lei Shen can almost make Fengyao invincible. Tian Dao looked a little embarrassed. Although he had just bounced off some damage with Shen Luo Tianzheng, he was still affected. He was angry, and Tian Dao folded his hands together and slowly opened, forming a chakra highly concentrated into a black sphere. Earth Blast. This is a forbidden technique of the Eye of Reincarnation. Both hands condense the chakra into a black sphere. After the sphere floats into the air, it will attract all surrounding objects in a large range. At the same time, it uses the attracted rocks to create a huge rock sphere to wrap the opponent. The black sphere flies into the sky and begins to absorb surrounding objects. The boulders on the ground, the parts of the tower, the pipes, and even people are attracted by the sphere. Gaara uses sand to hold Xianglin and others from being sucked away, and Obito takes the opportunity to open the blur, looking for opportunities to attack everyone. Fengyao used the technique of Flying Thunder God to teleport to Gaara and let him use the sand to hold him. Now that Hungry Ghost Road is dead, he can safely use his ninjutsu. Then began to seal. With the change of the seal, many blurred figures began to appear around Fengyao, and they all stretched out their right hands. Wan Mai Mahamudra. A huge blue chakra palm appeared, directly grasping the Earth Blast star that was about to condense. Fengyao said coldly, Earth-burst stars are nothing more than that. After speaking, he waved his hand and pressed the huge meteorite condensed in the sky towards the position of the heaven below. The surrounding air seemed to be evacuated by this blow, and everyone felt a sense of suffocation. Obito and others even felt the strong wind pressure brought by the falling of the boulder. Go quickly. Boom. A huge roar sounded, and everyone around was temporarily deaf. Several towers next to it were affected, and the whole collapsed. The air waves set off smoke and dust in the sky, and people's eyes can't see what's inside at all. Chapter 71-Capture the Eye of Reincarnation. Human Dao and Tian Dao were already lying on the ground, and their bodies were abnormally twisted, which was obviously useless. Obito is not going to die in his hands, but looking at Fengyao already has deep fear. He gritted his teeth and said, Fengyao, I have to say that your strength exceeds my expectations, but what can you bring to you by destroying this place? What do you want to do? Fengyao showed a smile, you'll know what I want soon, and I'm almost getting it. Not far away, a giant Venus flytrap watched everything. I didn't expect Nagato to be defeated so easily. Who is that masked man, the Senju family? Or the Uchiha family? Heiju said slowly, his plan had been planned for too long. This time was the closest to success, but Fengyao was halfway through, leaving him at a loss. Then what? Baiju, who was beside him, asked. Look at what he wants to do, and pay more attention to him in the future. After speaking, he looked at the battlefield again. The two nearby battlefields were also affected just now. The pocket here is barely able to hold Deidara and Scorpion. After all, he has a lot of information on the other side. In addition, there were two shadows who were reincarnated in the dirt, and they suppressed Deidara and Scorpion for a while. Seeing the huge meteor falling in the distance, Deidara couldn't help but said excitedly, "What's going on over there? The terrifying power at this moment seems to be comparable to my art," I said. The second generation toying old man, "You from why didn't you use the dust escape at the beginning? Were you afraid of killing me?" The second generation of Tsuchikage did not reply. He had been completely controlled by the pocket. HMPH, art is eternal beauty. How can it be that kind of thing? Let's deal with these guys. These people are not easy, especially that mustache. The Scorpion manipulated the puppet of the three generations of Kazekage to pounce on the pocket again. Who are you calling a mustache? I'm going to kill you. Orochimaru is not feeling well here. Sakai was picked by the ghost shark with his shark muscle behind him, and the curse has already withdrawn. Obviously he was sucked dry of chakra. Orochimaru himself was half squatting on the ground. He was just injured by Itachi's Tsuki reading, and his spirit was severely damaged again. Tayuya is now caught by Itachi, and his hand slowly reaches Tayuya's right eye. He wants to retract his friend's eye. The sound of the huge meteorite landing in the distance also attracted their attention. It's amazing. Who the hell released this level of ninjutsu? No matter who takes this move, I'm afraid it will die. The ghost shark muttered to himself, but Itachi ignored it. And Nagato's body is also uncomfortable. He was in the tower that fell before. Although he reluctantly relied on Shen Luo Tianzheng to land safely, all 6 of Pen's paths have been killed, and his strength has dropped to the extreme. He was preparing to control the machinery to move out of the ruins first. Something seemed to fall to the ground. Then a bandaged hand slammed into the reincarnation eye on his left, without any perception, as if it appeared out of thin air. This is the auxiliary ninjutsu of the second generation Tsuchikage, no dust. Possesses the terrifying invisibility ability that makes people unable to perceive chakra. The second generation of Tsukage is known as No One, by virtue of this ability. The one who fought against the Scorpion was the clone he created using the split technique in the middle of the battle. The splitting technique can divide the body and chakra equally without the need for seals. After the split, the avatars are all entities, but their strength will be reduced. I can't use the dust escape in the split state, which is why Deidara would say that there is no need for dust escape. Otherwise, Deidara's side will be even worse. Tu's manipulation is very hidden and has not been discovered by anyone. This is also a special task given to him by Feng Yao. Only Wu can approach Nagato's body without being discovered. Everyone else, including Feng Yao himself, was taking cover. But now there is only a few centimeters away from the Samsara Eye, and his hand is about to touch the Samsara Eye. But it seemed that Nagato was a step faster, and he roared in a low voice, "Shen Luo Tianzheng." Wu's body stopped in midair, and his fingers couldn't move an inch. In the end, the terrifying repulsion bounced Wu's body straight out, hitting the tower in the distance. Tu opened his eyes at this time and contacted the radio. "It's now. Lord Feng Yao." Before the manipulator appeared, Ku put the 3-pronged kunai under Nagato's car, and then launched an attack, which was to deceive Nagato's Shinra Tianzheng. Feng Yao heard that he disappeared directly from the spot, and Obito was stunned when he saw it. The next moment Feng Yao used the Flying Thunder God to appear directly in front of Nagato, and the Samsara Eye was in front of him. He roared wildly in his heart, "Successful, Samsara Eye." The right hand stretched out like lightning and snapped out the Samsara Eye on the left of Nagato. Nagato covered his left eye in pain, and he turned to look at Feng Yao who was standing not far away, playing with Samsara Eye. He gritted his teeth and said, "It turns out that your purpose is the Eye of Reincarnation. What a deep scheming. You have been plotting against me from beginning to end. Do you know that doing so will destroy the upcoming peace of the ninja world? I would have been very soon it can be done. Quote. Feng Yao absorbed some of the cells of the samsara eye into his body, and now he has the power of the three major pupil techniques. Neji's white eyes had already been implanted with cells in the laboratory. He turned his head slowly. You're wrong, Nagato. You want to collect tailed beasts to create a power that can instantly destroy a country, so that countries don't dare to act rashly, and breed peace in terror and pain. This idea has been tried. In the end, it will only be a failure, and you are just a pawn. Stop and live quietly with Xiaonan. Nagato was not a person who liked to go to extremes, but was assassinated by Danzo. He was the product of the monster catalyzed by war. Aside from the task, Feng Yao still admires Nagato, so he will persuade him. Nagato sneered twice. Who do you think you are? It's so easy to say in a few words. The god of ninjas in the past can bring peace for several years, not relying on powerful force to deter. Only let all countries fully experience the pain, they will stop the war and lead the world like peace. Feng Yao shrugged and said, forget it. I didn't intend to convince you. I just gave you an advice. I will accept it first. As he spoke, his eyes changed, not the blue pain, but the purple samsara eyes. Of course, due to the fact that the reincarnation eye of the system can hardly use any abilities, it is okay to wear color contact lenses. Nagato was speechless when he saw this scene. He watched Feng Yao possess the samsara eye within a few seconds, which was beyond his understanding. His voice trembled a little. How did you do it? Why do you have the eye of reincarnation? Are you, a god? Xiaonan and Obito on the side also arrived in time. Xiaonan saw the meteorite falling and was concerned about Nagato's safety. Obito is an afterthought, and understands that Feng Yao's goal is the eye of reincarnation. Nagato, how are you? Xiaonan ran over to see Nagato hurt and distressed, and quickly came to his side to check. As for Obito, he looked at Feng Yao's two samsara eyes in disbelief. His voice was also difficult to keep steady. How could this be? Two reincarnation eyes, how come you have? Then he looked at Nagato, who had one eye cut off, his brain racing. This situation is very similar to Feng Yao having his own eyes, and Feng Yao should have just had samsara eyes. And Feng Yao's only difference during this period is that he got Nagato's samsara eye. Obito seemed to have vaguely guessed the secret of Feng Yao's physique. Heiju on the side had never seen such a situation, even though he had lived for thousands of years. How is this possible? Just now this kid has no reincarnation eye. What happened? In just a few days, his heart was continuously attacked, and Heijuan was determined to find out the secret of Feng Yao. If such a character can't be used by me, I can only kill it as soon as possible to avoid future troubles. Otherwise, it must be a huge threat to my mother's resurrection. Feng Yao didn't want to care what these people were thinking. He slowly stretched out his right hand. Open a black portal out of thin air. Ultimate Time-Space Ninjutsu, Wangquan Hirazaka, is a time-space ninjutsu that can only be used with the three major pupils. This technique has the ability to travel freely in space. It not only allows the caster to travel in the same space, but also allows the caster to freely enter and exit between the real space and the different space. It can be used to attack, shorten the distance of long-range ninjutsu, disrupt and surprise opponents, and can also be used to avoid and escape in critical situations. No end seal is required to activate. Feng Yao turned his head and gave them a victorious smile. Everyone, see you next time. Chapter 72-Wanga Mahamudra vs Susanoo. After opening the door of space, Feng Yao's spirit seems to be integrated into this world. As long as he is willing, he can open the door of space at any time, no imprint is required. Feng Yao first found Gaara's location. Behind Gaara, he opened Yi Quan Hirazaka, and reached out and patted him on the shoulder. Gaara paled in shock, and when he turned his head and saw that it was Feng Yao, he was relieved. He wondered, Master Feng Yao, is this your new ninjutsu? I actually didn't feel it at all. It's called Wonkwan Hirazaka. Don't talk about it. Come in, we're ready to retreat. After Feng Yao finished speaking, he pulled Gaara and others into the space. Then Feng Yao opened the space in the pocket again, and the battle on both sides had entered a fever at this moment. Deidara's entire right body was burned by the second-generation Mizuying's famous stunt, and there were several blood holes on his body, which seemed to be caused by Junmalu and Suiyu. The surrounding ground is full of puppet parts. These are puppets summoned by scorpions with scrolls. Scorpion himself seems to be fine. After all, it is made by a puppet. As long as the heart is there, he can change his body at any time. Junmaro and Shigego were poisoned by scorpions, and they were barely hanged by medical ninjutsu. There are many scars on Do's body caused by explosions. It is Deidara's clay bomb. Because he is afraid of wasting chakra, he has not healed all of them, but the wound is not bleeding. On the contrary, Shuiyu was the least injured among the people present. The technique of hydration lived up to its reputation. Whether it was the poison of the scorpion or the bomb of Deidara, it was difficult to hurt him. Shuiyu once again repelled the attack of the scorpion with a big knife, and shouted, "Boss Do, is Lord Feng Yao okay? I think I can't stand it anymore." Not far away, Changwu has begun to have difficulty breathing, the corners of his eyes are blue and purple, and the state of the curse has subsided by half. He just rushed the most violently and was injured the most. "I'm already here. I've worked hard for you this time. Come in. The mission has been completed." Feng Yao opened Yongchang Hirazaka, and walked out from the inside, and he was about to pull a few people in together. Scorpion snorted coldly, "I still want to leave. Just stay with me." Flame hell. Flames with strong melting power and temperature spewed out of the scorpion's palm pipe, and swept toward the wind. But unfortunately, Feng Yao was still one step ahead, pulling everyone into Wonkwan Hirazaka and closing the door of space. Now that the task has been completed, Feng Yao will not start with them unless he has to. This is his style of doing things. Before the goal is achieved, all means are used, but as long as the goal is achieved, unless there is a huge benefit, it is rarely done. Finally, there is Orochimaru. Itachi was holding an eyeball in his hand at the moment, and Tayuya's right eye was bleeding profusely, and Shishui's eye had been taken away by Itachi. She was caught in Itachi's illusion, and her consciousness was very vague. She fell to the ground, her voice very weak, but she still grabbed the corner of Itachi's clothes. "Please. Give it back to me, give me eyes." She doesn't care about the power of that eye, she only cares because it was given to her by Feng Yao. Itachi didn't pay attention, but summoned the crow to put away Shishui's eyes. After many years, he did not expect that one day he would be able to gather the eyes of his friend. He looked in the direction of Konoha and meditated in his heart. "Shishui, are you silently protecting me and the village in heaven? Don't worry, I will use your eyes to protect the village and protect the name of Uchiha. They will not fall into the hands of others." Thinking of this, Itachi's eyes became more and more firm. The ghost shark threw Sakai, who was dead on the knife, to the ground. "1 dozen Sichi-san, Mr. Itachi, do you have anything else to do? If not, I will kill them." "No, end it as soon as possible and let's go to support others." After Itachi finished speaking, the ghost shark raised the muzzle of the shark and prepared to end the lives of everyone. The knife swung halfway, but was stopped by a hand reaching out from the black portal. Because he was too angry, the palm of his hand fell firmly into the barb of the shark muscle, and the shark muscle kept struggling, and it seemed that it was very painful to be caught. The ghost shark looked at the owner of the hand. The other party wore a white mask and couldn't see his face clearly, but his eyes were like 10,000 years of ice. Finally, with the palm of his hand, he ripped off the countless stabs of the shark's muscle, and Feng Yao slapped his feet. Bai Lei kicked the ghost shark out. Boom! The ghost shark was kicked into the wall again, and he took off the stones from his body. He spat out a mouthful of blood and sighed, "This guy is so powerful, I'm afraid he can compete with that Sanin Tsunade." Feng Yao's eyes turned to Tayuya's direction, and his figure moved. Whoosh! Underscore. Feng Yao used Flying Thunder God to come to Tayuya in an instant, and Itachi saw the enemy step back. At the same time, the hand is printed, and the chakra is gathered in the throat. Fire escape. How fireball. A huge fireball swept the ground and the air in the direction of Feng Yao. The heat wave hit Feng Yao's face, but it seemed that the chill on his face couldn't be removed. Feng Yao thought silently in his heart, "One guard seal." Countless figures surrounded them, forming a circular barrier to cover everyone, and bounced the How fireball directly. Itachi hurriedly avoided and stood with the ghost shark, seeing that the other party looked like a reinforcement of Orochimaru. Feng Yao did not pursue, but asked others to move Orochimaru and others into the space first. Then slowly squat down. Tayuya's spirit was attacked by Itachi's wheel-eye illusion, and she hadn't recovered for a while, but she couldn't forget the aura on Feng Yao's body. She raised her head with difficulty, and her pretty face was already stained with blood and could not be seen clearly. "Feng Yao, my lord, I'm sorry, I let you down." Putting his hand on Tayuya's head, chakra entered her body, helping her stabilize her spirit. Feng Yao comforted her softly. "Why, you did a good job. Rest assured, the task has been completed." When he saw the battlefield on Itachi's side, he knew that the situation was not good, but Obito still found these two people. It can be said that in addition to himself, everyone else has a very low winning rate even against Itachi and Oni. Itachi looked at Feng Yao. He just heard what Tayuya said, and already knew that Feng Yao was the leader of this attack on Akatsuki. He took a step forward and said, "Your companion is all right, rest a few days and you'll be fine." From Itachi's position, he hoped that Feng Yao and others could leave, so that there would be a force outside to contain Akatsuki. Feng Yao gently handed Tayuya to Shangrin and others, and then confronted Itachi. Itachi Uchiha is a real ninja. Protecting the village in the dark, bearing infamy, sacrificing everything for the sake of his younger brother, and destroying the family for the sake of the village. Although Feng Yao does not want to be such a ninja, it does not prevent him from respecting this kind of person. If he can, Feng Yao does not want to meet him in this situation. He turned his head to look at Tayuya, Orochimaru and others who were seriously injured. Slowly said to Itachi, "They suffered such severe mental trauma, it should be caused by your illusion. Itachi, I can probably guess the reason why you took Shishui's eyes. Let me tell you, Shishui's eyes I can. But you need to pay for hurting her." After speaking, the seal changed, and the surrounding phantoms dispersed and continued to increase, and a huge palm appeared in the air. Feng Yao's body trembled a little. This was the second time he had used the 10,000-gram mudra today. If it weren't for his cooperation with the intercolumn cells, chakra's recovery speed was extremely fast, and it would never have been used in such a short period of time. Even after using it, his chakra was running out, and his body was a little heavy. Feng Yao stretched out his right hand and squeezed in the air, and the giant chakra hand in the sky also rushed towards Itachi. When the giant hand waved, the surrounding air was instantly evacuated, as if to destroy everything. Itachi felt the horror of this blow, and did not dare to be careless, and the kaleidoscope of his eyes opened directly. With a light drink, Susanoo. A red skeleton appeared on the ground and back, wrapping Itachi firmly. Then the skeleton is covered with meridians and flesh and blood, and a human face grows, and some simple weapons can be used. In the end, the entire Susanoo put on the Weddingu armor, which greatly increased the defense, and picked up the 10-fist sword and the Yata mirror in both hands. Susanoo stretched out his huge left hand and grabbed the ghost shark into his body to protect it, and then raised the Yata mirror to resist Kazuya's attack. This is a shield that claims to be able to bounce back all ninjutsu. Boom! Chakra's giant hand held Susanoo ruthlessly and made a dull sound, but this time, the great mudra of Wanwo, who had been doing extraordinary feats, was stopped this time. Although Susanoo had countless cracks and seemed to be crumbling, he still kept the flamboyant myriad mudra and bounced back some of his power. The power of Wanwo Mahamudra continued to decrease, and soon the blow was over. This seemed to be expected by Itachi. He said slowly, Feng Yao, although your giant hand is very strong, it can't break my Susanoo, and you shouldn't be able to use it a second time, so I'll take you with me. Mate leave. Chapter 73_Smash Susanoo. Feng Yao didn't give up. Susanoo's defense really exceeded his expectations, but it was not impossible, he cried silently from the bottom of his heart. System, my mission should be completed, give me twice the amount of chakra now. Congratulations to the host for completing the task, the reward is twice the amount of chakra, please continue to work hard, but don't die here, if you attack, you should choose to avoid the opponent's Yata mirror. Feng Yao snorted coldly, don't worry, I know. Immediately afterwards, Feng Yao's dry body poured into chakra again, which lifted his spirits, and now the chakra is enough to use Wanwo Mahamudra again. Itachi, not far away, also found it. After all, having a writing wheel I can observe the flow of chakra. The flow of chakra in the opponent's body was very weak just now, but a large amount of chakra appeared again in a short period of time, and madly gathered into the opponent's hand in the body. Feng Yao raised his right hand above his head, and said softly, Wan Mai Mahamudra. Turning hands, the second giant hand appeared out of thin air. When Itachi saw this scene, he was about to take a step back to defend, but the first giant hand held Yata mirror tightly and couldn't move. He immediately changed his tactics and did not intend to retreat. Itachi was about to attack the caster directly. He closed his eyes slowly, and then left his right eye with blood and opened it suddenly. Word by word. God. Photo. This technique makes Itachi's pupils focus on a black flame with powerful destructive power. The black flame will not disappear until the target is burned out, and it is called an absolutely unavoidable technique. The direction they looked at was Feng Yao himself. Itachi wanted to force Feng Yao to stop attacking, and he should be able to avoid it with the opponent's mysterious space-time ninjutsu. But unfortunately, Feng Yao didn't dodge and directly carried Itachi's Amaterasu. The black flame immediately burned violently on Feng Yao's body, and it was already bloody in a moment. Master Feng Yao. The people around hurriedly shouted, and they saw the extraordinariness of this flame. But Feng Yao didn't care, and directly manipulated the second giant hand to wave like Susanoo's left body. There was no place for Yata mirror to defend. Boom. With a loud bang, Susanoo's armor shattered, and both the ghost shark and Itachi were shot out and fell on top of the ruins. The two had a sweet throat, and a mouthful of blood gushed out. This blow made them seriously injured. Feng Yao did not deal with the black inflammation on his body, but stared at Itachi's direction, followed by bloodshot left eye. God. Way. The space where Feng Yao focuses is like melting, constantly sucking and pulling outside things. Kamui was aiming at Itachi's right hand, and Feng Yao said indifferently, leave the arm that stole the eye from Tayuya. After speaking, Itachi's entire arm was directly torn off by Feng Yao with divine might. Itachi groaned, but didn't make a sound. He covered his bleeding right arm and looked at Feng Yao quietly. His head was full of sweat because of the severe pain. However, Itachi was also surprised by Feng Yao's perseverance. I didn't expect that even if he was hit by Amaterasu, he would have to take revenge for his comrade. If he hadn't betrayed Konoha, he would have a chance to inherit Hokage in the future. It's a pity that my Amaterasu didn't burn out before it was exhausted. Will not stop. Quote. Feng Yao's body was covered with wounds that had been burned by Amaterasu, and even he could not bear the enormous pain. And the intercolumnar cells have been helping him recover, which is a delicate balance. 'Cause Feng Yao to endure the endless cycle of wound recovery, burning, recovery, and burning, this is undoubtedly a kind of torture. He laboriously tied the seal, and used the countless phantoms created by chakra to rotate tightly against his body. Forbearance. My body seal. A repulsive force appeared, and the black flames on Feng Yao's body were directly bounced away. After doing all this, Feng Yao couldn't stand anymore and knelt on one knee on the ground. There was scorched black smoke on his body, and it could be seen that the wounds on his body had begun to recover, and the healing was completed at a speed visible to the naked eye. His recovery ability is no weaker than Tsunade, who opened the creation and regeneration, and he is still passive. Woo. Woo. Call. Both of them were exhausted at the moment, and Itachi's body was not in good shape. Today, he used Tsukusho, Amaterasu, and Susanoo even more, and the huge burden on his eyes was also pressing on his body. The same is true for Feng Yao, who used the Wanwo Mahamudra twice in a row. Amaterasu Feng Yao, who bounced Itachi, used chakra to create a lot of phantoms before it was consumed and bounced away, showing the power of Amaterasu. The injury on the ghost shark also quickly recovered, which is the function of the big sword shark muscle. Not only can you absorb the opponent's chakra for your own use, but you can also use the large amount of chakra stored in the shark muscle to stimulate the regeneration of body cells. I don't know how much contribution this knife has made for the ghost shark, but it's a pity that it was cheaper in the end. Ghost Shark stood up and said, I didn't expect to meet a strong man like you today, and it's the first time I've seen Itachi to force it out. You are worth a cut. He didn't plan to act as soon as he saw Itachi shot the quilt. He didn't expect that the other party's methods were beyond his imagination, and he almost capsized in the gutter. After he finished speaking, he was ready to seal the seal. He wanted to use the water escape and the big blast of water to trap everyone, and then kill them one by one. But a hand grabbed his clothes, and the ghost shark turned to look. It was Itachi who stopped him, and Itachi coughed 2 mouthfuls of blood. Said with difficulty, Ghost Shark, stop, you are not their opponent, there are too many opponents, it is not easy to fight and we retreat. Itachi also has other thoughts. Feng Yao's strength is not bad, and he can deal with the unstable organization of Shao. Moreover, Feng Yao was originally from Konoha. Although he didn't know the specific reason to judge the village, he couldn't just look at the surface. Just like myself, the superficial betrayal is not the case, and the other party is affectionate and righteous, and he feels that he is not a wicked person. If you guess wrong, you can easily rewrite Feng Yao's will with other gods in hand, so Itachi doesn't want ghost sharks to kill Feng Yao here. The ghost shark frowned. It was true that the other party was several times his own, and he probably didn't know the information. He said to Itachi, what you think about is also reasonable, then listen to you, 7 sang Mr. Itachi. Saying that, he stood up with the help of Itachi's remaining left arm, leaned Itachi on his body, and used the telekinesis to leave here. Feng Yao did not stop him and watched them leave. Gaara hurried up and asked with concern, Master Feng Yao, are you all right? The flame just now was almost. His voice trembled a little at the back. Gaara was really afraid of losing this hard-won bond. If the opponent chooses to shoot just now, he will definitely rush up without hesitation, even if it is not an opponent. Feng Yao touched Ai Luo's head. Dotingly smiled and said, don't worry, he won't die. Didn't you see that I lost one of his arms? Let's go, there will be people here soon. Open the door to the space to Yinyan village with Yeonchang Hirazaka. The Shinwei space is temporarily unavailable. I don't know what Obito has prepared. It would be dangerous to use it rashly now. The surrounding scenery changed. Feng Yao returned to the base, and he slumped directly on the ground. Using Yeonchang Hirazaka, consumed his last few chakras, and now he left a little chakra to save his life. But Feng Yao knew that this was not the time to rest, so he got up again to check the current casualties. Fortunately, everyone had transplanted some of the intercolumnar cells, so it wouldn't be life-threatening all of a sudden, but the resilience was far less than Feng Yao's. Gaara, Neji, Shangrin and the 5 ghosts only fought against Tiandao for a while, so the injuries were the least, and the tightness was just a scratch. Do was wounded by Deidara's clay bomb, most severely in the right chest, with almost bone-deep. Junmalu was poisoned, the throat was crushed, and the vocal cords were damaged. Changwu was poisoned, and there were many scars on his body caused by iron sand and swords, and his back was blown. The moon is in good condition. Duo Yuya was traumatized and lost his right eye. Tsunade defected. Sakai is exhausted and his life is in danger. Orochimaru fell into the moon reading, and his spirit was severely damaged. Feng Yao chakra is not enough. Chapter 74 Heartbroken Orochimaru. Feng Yao didn't dare to delay at the moment, and immediately called some Yin Ren to help everyone in. Master Feng Yao, how did you get hurt like this? Master Orochimaru too. Kidomaru and the other three were surprised when they saw it. They were often with Tayuya, so they were also people who knew the current strength of Sen very well. Except for the auxiliary type like Shangrin, you can beat them if you pick anyone out. Originally thought that they would go out to carry out the task would be easy to complete, but did not expect such a result. He couldn't help taking a deep breath, how terrifying the opponent's strength was. Everyone treats them according to the severity of the injury, and priority is given to Sai, Shigego, Orochimaru, Junmaro, and Taiyu. The others were put on hold, and Pitido's own injury was not yet healed, so he had to devote himself to medical work first, and Shangrin also went in with him. What happened to Tsunade also made Feng Yao not expect that Itachi happened to meet the group of Orochimaru. As a result, he was overtaken, Bishin God was taken away, and Tsunade lost control. After sending everyone to the medical room in the pocket for first aid, Feng Yaojing sat outside the door, where he was going to wait until they were out of danger. Gaara and the others originally wanted to stay, but were forced by Feng Yao to go back to rest. The wait is always long and the day goes by quickly. Feng Yao said to himself. System, you said they'll be fine, is it a bit too long to have no news for a day? For the first time, a voice about to collapse came from the system. Host, I beg you to stop asking. You have asked more than 200 times since yesterday, an average of 100 times an hour, and I said I don't know. Feng Yao took a long sigh, and silently refined chakra without speaking. Finally, he came out dragging his heavy body, his lips were white, and he had been injured for another day, and he was even more exhausted. Feng Yao hurried over to support him, instilling the chakra in his body into his body, and the look of Do's face was a little better. He said hoarsely, Master Orochimaru and the others are all right now. Fortunately, I have Shangrin to assist me, otherwise they might be in real danger, and Sakai is already out of the dangerous period. Feng Yao patted Do's shoulder heavily, and the internal injury of Do's slaps almost recurred. Thanks to you this time, go and heal yourself. Be sure to rest well. Feng Yao helped Do into another ward, and then walked back quickly. When the door was opened, 5 people were lying on the white hospital bed, the surrounding instruments were still ticking, and some spells and catheters were still attached to their bodies. Orochimaru had already woken up, but he was very weak. When he saw Feng Yao come in, he struggled to get up. Feng Yao walked over and helped him up, half sitting on the bed. Orochimaru took a few breaths, and then asked excitedly, Yaojun, have you succeeded? Have you obtained the Eye of Samsara? The first thing he did was not to ask about his injury and other circumstances, but whether he had obtained the Eye of Reincarnation. Orochimaru's pursuit of his ideals far exceeds his own life, and he has long wanted to explore the mystery of the Eye of Reincarnation. Feng Yao smiled slightly. He took out Nagato's Samsara Eye from his arms. He had absorbed the cells, and this eye could be reserved for Orochimaru for research. Yao Jun. Orochimaru suddenly screamed strangely, startling Feng Yao, but he didn't know what happened, and looked at Orochimaru strangely. Then Orochimaru scolded bitterly, Yaojun, this is the most noble eye known as the eye that controls life and death, the eye of creation and destruction. You actually put it in your arms like this. Container. What? How can you be so casual? Since Orochimaru became Feng Yao's subordinate, it was the first time that he spoke to Feng Yao so loudly. Feng Yao shook his head helplessly, and said nonchalantly, I can't take the container out of the Shinwei space. It's alright, should I offer it up? Looking at Orochimaru's extremely serious eyes, Feng Yao could only cough twice and threw the Samsara eye to him. Alright, this eye will be handed over to you to study, remember to let me know as soon as there is any progress. Orochimaru hurriedly caught the samsara eye, holding it like a treasure in his hand, as if he had forgotten that he was injured. Feng Yao continued to walk to the side to see other people. Sakai is out of danger, but he has not woken up yet. His chakra was almost sucked out by the ghost shark, and he almost died. There are not many injuries on the body. As long as you take a good rest, you may be the fastest one when you get better. Then he came to Junmalu and said, the poison has been removed, so you don't need to worry too much. Junmalu opened his eyes and looked at Feng Yao, with mixed feelings in his heart. He once thought about killing Feng Yao, but his strength was insufficient at that time. Even if Orochimaru became Feng Yao's subordinate, he felt that Orochimaru was persecuted, so he was always on guard. Until Feng Yao ran for thousands of miles to find Tsunade, a medical expert, to treat him. And he found that Orochimaru has never been so happy as following Feng Yao, and every time Feng Yao can come up with what Orochimaru wants, let Orochimaru indulge in it. Gradually, he became convinced of Feng Yao, and all Junmalu wanted to do in his life was to realize his ideals for Orochimaru. Now Orochimaru has approached his ideal, and his life has also been extended. This is the result that pleases him the most. He responded in a hoarse voice. I'm fine, Lord Feng Yao, thank you. Feng Yao was stunned for a moment, then showed a gentle smile and nodded lightly. Chongo hasn't woken up yet. He rushed too hard in the battle, almost carrying half of the opponent's output. Fortunately, there is such a medical ninja, otherwise Chongo might not be able to make it back. Feng Yao looked at Zhongwu's quiet thinking, and he will find a way to completely solve the side effects of Zhongwu's immortalization in the future. Although his chakra can restrain Shigego, he cannot be by his side at all times. Taiyu was also lying on the innermost hospital bed, and she was also under an illusion. But after all, the strength is lower than Orochimaru, so the recovery is slower, but there is no serious problem. Looking at Taiyuya's wrapped right eye, Feng Yao still felt an involuntary sullen sigh. My heart, I joked silently, next time I will also go gout Sasuke's eyeballs to see if Yu Itachi is distressed. I don't know if I heard the voice in Feng Yao's heart. Duo Yu also frowned slightly, showing signs of waking up. Taiyuya's eyelids trembled a few times, and he pulled away, looked around with a sleepy look, and finally focused his eyes on Feng Yao. Master Feng Yao. It sounded like a sleepy tone, but he was sure that it was all right. Feng Yao felt joy in his heart, and he held Taiyuya's hand. Ha, ha. Ignoring the strange words from Duo Yuya's absent-minded expression, he tightened his grip. You're all right. Just, sorry, it's all my fault. Hey, well, what are you talking about, Master Feng Yao? You can't do anything wrong, it's all useless to me. The eyes you gave me were taken away, and even Tsunade, one of the 3 ninjas, was taken away because of this. I ran away, and please punish me. Taiyu also said with a dark look in his eyes, and responded with self-blame. Don't talk about this kind of thing. I will give you as much eyes as you want. As for Tsunade, he can't leave. One day as a member of the Immortal organization, and she will be there for life. I personally went to find her to come back. Said that in the end, Feng Yao had already brought a touch of chill, but it was quickly put away. After all, the strength of Xian has been severely damaged now. He needs to stay here for a while. When everything settles down, he will go to Tsunade. After taking care of others and taking a good rest, Feng Yao also walked out of the medical room. Just when he was about to go back to his room to take a rest, Gaara walked over from the opposite side to see that he was in a hurry and there must be something. Huh, Lord Feng Yao, I'm about to find you. Are they all right, Lord Orochimaru? It's safe. What is it that makes you rush? Tell me. Gaara immediately turned serious and reported. Our intelligence personnel outside sent a message that Union Village and Konoha have officially started war. Chapter 75-Cloud Hidden Invasion. In the forest, a figure quickly shuttled through the forest. A young man with yellow hair leapt into the sky. His shoulder pads and sleeves are all black, while the bottom half is an orange jacket with gray eye tights as the base, and his shoes and forehead guard are also black. The blood-red eyes have black vertical pupils, and the body is also covered with a tail beast coat with 3 tails growing out of the back. Naruto, don't be too noisy, you haven't fully mastered this power, and now you can only barely drive to the 3rd tail, stop first. You are already out of control. Behind him, a ninja with oversized eyes and a face guard-style forehead persuaded. But it was clear that Naruto didn't intend to listen to his advice, and just rushed forward. Yamato shook his head helplessly, his left hand turned into several wooden sticks, and tied up Naruto who was jumping in the air. Ah! Boom! With a sound of landing, Naruto was lying on the ground, his left foot twitching slightly. He got up from the ground and suddenly felt a murderous aura behind him. A hand rested on his shoulder. Hey, Naruto, I told you, don't drive too far with 3 tails, do you like me having to do this kind of terror? Yamato's voice was as if he had just crawled out of hell, and even his face darkened a bit. Naruto was so frightened that he woke up a lot, and the tailed beast's coat was almost unable to hold. Hokage-style ear-smoothing technique. Kuoin enters the hand and hangs. Yamato put his right hand on Naruto's forehead, and the tail beast coat slowly dissipated. Naruto also returned to his original state, and he rolled over and got up from the ground. Like a child who is afraid of punishment for doing something wrong. That, Yamato-sensei, accident, I didn't expect it to be so difficult to control this time, I promise it won't happen next time. Alas, the last time you were because there was a chakra that helped you relieve the hatred of the 9 tails part, allowing you to stay sane, and now that chakra has been consumed by you. Yamato explained it to Naruto. He discovered this when Naruto trained with him at the beginning, but unfortunately Feng Yao's chakra didn't reserve much, so it was already consumed by Naruto. Naruto's eyes dimmed after hearing this. How could he not feel who this chakra belonged to? He is working so hard now to be able to pursue the upper hand and bring him back to the village one day. Seeing Naruto's thoughts, Yamato just proposed to go back to Konoha to eat ramen to ease the atmosphere. At this time, a few kunai with detonating talismans flew towards Naruto. Yamato reacted quickly and stood in front of Naruto to protect him. Wooden wood ingot wall. A row of wooden pillars bent from the ground to form a buttress to protect himself and Naruto. Boom! The cracking sound of the wood and the sound of the explosion were muddy together. The ingot wall was still strong, only a few pieces of wood were damaged, and the 2 of them were fine. Ninja of Konoha, come out and die. Several ninjas in white clothes, lined with gray ninja suits, and with cloud-shaped forehead guards sprinted over. It can be seen that it is a ninja from Union Village. Yamato and Naruto came out to practice together, so I haven't returned to Konoha these days, and I don't know that the war has broken out. However, as a member of Anbu, Yamato was a little surprised by this unexpected situation, but he reacted quickly. Yamato's hands are sealed, and the chakra in the body is condensed into both hands. Wood done, the technique of silent killing and binding. A branch grew out of Yamato's hand and stretched towards the enemy. The person bound by this move was completely unable to move and could only remain silent. The person on the other side was also surprised when they saw Yamato's mutton. It turned out to be a wooden ninja. Handle it with care, and deal with the kid behind first. Understood. Lay done angry Thunder Tiger. One of the Union ninjas gathered a large number of Thunder Chakra around him. After a while, Thunder Chakra formed a huge blue tiger surrounded by thunder and lightning, and then quickly rushed towards Yamato and others. Snapped, snapped. The blocking trees were broken one by one. The Thunder Giant Tiger ruthlessly shredded Yamato's wooden dungeon, heading straight for Naruto. Boom. After a loud bang, Yamato and Naruto all turned into wood. Union Ninja scolded. Damn it, it's a wooden clone. I didn't notice it at all. Where are they? Naruto fell from the sky, holding the spiral pill in his hand and rushing towards one of Yun Yin. He shouted, I'm here. What? Spiral pills directly ripped open the damaged skin on the opponent's chest, as if there was a small tornado. Damn it, give me death. Don't think about leaving, take a knife from me. Seeing that their companions were injured, the remaining two injected chakra into the ninja knife, and blue chakra and electric current flashed on the blade. Yamato, who was on the side, was ready to end the two Union Chunin. But someone was one step ahead of him. A woman in a green robe moved directly to the side of the two Yunyins using the Xianju technique. To say what is special about her is that she has a good figure that girls can't envy, and a huge bet behind her. She roared, "What the hell are you guys going to do to the people in my village?" Saying that, he charged his right hand with a punch, knocking all the two people in front of him into the air. The remaining strength of their fists made the two of them collide with more than a dozen trees before they stopped. After landing, they were already dead and could no longer die. Naruto swallowed his saliva in fear at first, seeing the indescribable joy on his face after seeing the person coming. "Hey, Grandma Tsunade, you're all right. That's great, the lecherous fairy will be very happy to know." He ran to Tsunade's side and greeted the other party's recent situation. Yamato was also relieved that such a terrible woman is not the enemy that is the best. Yamato said, "You are Tsunade-sama, one of the three ninjas. I have admired your name for a long time. You are a legendary medical expert who has been praised by the village. Well, who is the Hokage in the village now, and why are these Union ninjas here?" "Sorry, Tsunade-sama, I also brought my student Naruto out for training. I haven't been back to Konoha for a long time recently. As for the sixth Hokage, it's Hatake Kakashi." Tsunade frowned. Yunyin couldn't have attacked in such an upright manner, something must have happened. After she left Yuyin village, she rushed back directly. Without time and space ninjutsu, she would naturally not be faster than Feng Yao. As a result, I heard the sound of fighting on the road, and came to see that it was actually Naruto and the ninja of Union village. By Xian, all the time can give Tsunade a lot of backlog of emotions, so the strange force is full, and the two Union are solved on the spot. "Let's hurry back to the village as soon as possible, I have important information to tell the sixth Hokage." Yamato nodded and rushed back to Konoha with Naruto and Tsunade. "Grandma Tsunade, tell me what happened, what the hell?" The camera is pulled to the Shao organization. Deidara, Scorpion, Itachi, Oni, Obito, Nagato, and Konan gathered together. The injuries on their bodies have been treated initially, and there is no serious problem, but this time, Shao was also beaten and hurt his vitality. Nagato's six paths are completely destroyed, and the loss of a samsara eye is almost fatal to Obito. The samsara eye is absolutely not to be lost, but after all, knowing who the other party is, there is still a chance to get it back. Itachi and Deidara were seriously injured and could not participate in the battle for a short time. Others have nothing to do. This incident forced Obito to surface ahead of time and stand on Akatsuki's bright side. He has reintroduced himself to everyone. And call himself Madara Uchiha. Nagato, Itachi, Ghost Shark, and Xiaonan were mentally prepared. Deidara and Scorpion were a little surprised, and it was hard to imagine that the other party had survived until now. At the moment, Obito is engaged in pre-war mobilization. Although we have suffered heavy losses this time, the plan cannot be suspended. Union has already started a war with Konoha. This opportunity is once in a lifetime. We have to take this opportunity to take down all the three-tailed beasts in the two villages. Nagato, I need you to create new ones. The six paths. Although he lost one eye, Nagato can still use most of the abilities of Samsara Eye. It will take a while, but it should be fine. Nagato seemed very laborious when speaking, and his thin body looked a little gloomy in a secret room with poor lighting. Obito nodded and ordered to the other people. The remaining people, in twos and twos, are responsible for capturing the tailed beast, and notify the members of the Shao organization who are still on the mission, and the plan to capture the tailed beast officially begins. Chapter 76-Outlander Golem. Feng Yao sat on the black leather seat and listened to the news reported by Gara. Union Village has been invading the Country of Fire since yesterday, because the Sound Nin village of the Country of Tien is also close to the border of the Country of Fire. Therefore, the ninja of Union came here, and was caught and asked for news. Feng Yao frowned slightly. He could vaguely guess that Yunyin was about to invade. It's just that the advantage of the traveler is getting smaller and smaller, and the butterfly effect has caused the current development of the plot to be different from the original. If Yunyin and Konoha do not handle this situation well, the Fourth Ninja World War will even break out. But soon Feng Yao's brows stretched out. This kind of thing has nothing to do with his Konoha's betrayal and forbearance. If there is any connection, it is that Tsunade has to be brought back. Feng Yao turned his head and said, "Notify all the members of the Xian organization of this news, and also remind Orochimaru that if there is nothing wrong with his people, don't make trouble during this time. Be used as a strategic location or as a threat to eradicate." Quote, "I understand, Lord Feng Yao." Gara smiled, and he unconditionally obeyed Feng Yao's decision. It's just that Feng Yao seems to have a lot of criticism about the fact that Feng Yao did not rest for a day because he stayed outside the medical room. According to the current strength of Konoha village, it cannot be compared with Yunyin, and Yunyin is more likely to win. Not only are there two-tailed beasts, but they are both perfect human pillars and people who can truly control the power of the tailed beasts. On the other hand, Konoha did not pick up and couldn't control the nine tails. Although Tsunade went back to help this time, the odds of winning were still low. Feng Yao said in a leisurely tone, "In addition to waiting for the recovery of the members of the Xian organization, I also need you to establish a certain vigilance circle around Yunnan village, because I will take people to the Country of Water in a few days. Of course, yes, by the time Orochimaru is almost fully recovered. I don't want my lair to be stolen by the time I come back." Gara nodded. "Yes, then do you need me to accompany you when you go to the Land of Water?" "No, the Land of Water is surrounded by the sea on all sides, and your sand is difficult to play there. It's better to stay here. Oh, by the way, do you have any mastery of Konoha's Flying Thunder God?" Feng Yao, after answering the question, he asked about Konoha ninjutsu learning. He still has less than a week to use time and space ninjutsu, but Feng Yao doesn't want to lose this means of fast movement in space, so he ordered the members of the Xian organization to focus on flying when they were studying Thor the ninjutsu. Gara answered truthfully, "I haven't learned anything yet." Feng Yao sighed slightly. "That's fine, it doesn't matter. After all, this kind of thing can't be forced." As Konoha's S-rank time-space ninjutsu, Fei Lei Shen has learned a lot, but he can really master it very little. The difficulty is not what ordinary people can imagine. Gara looked at Feng Yao's somewhat disappointed tone, and immediately said solemnly, "Don't worry, Master Feng Yao, we will definitely learn the technique of flying thunder gods with all our strength, then if there is nothing else, I will go down first." Feng Yao was stunned for a moment. Didn't he say everything? But this is also a piece of Gara's kindness. So he nodded. "Thank you for your hard work. If Orochimaru recovers, let him come to see me." The door slammed, and Feng Yao was the only one left in the room. 3 days later, in a huge open space, there are countless gates around. This is the place where Orochimaru used to arrange the people who were cursed to fight, and now it is used by Feng Yao for training. A white-clothed figure in the open space kept dodging the surrounding sand, dodging it calmly every time, but what greeted him was another blow of soft boxing technique Bagua Kongbi Palm. Feng Yao was no longer dodging, and instantly kicked out a slashing wave with 4 feet in the sky. Land foot, Kirin Shiu. The Lanzuo slash hit the ceiling and was suddenly reflected aimlessly, like a sudden downpour, which caught Neji by surprise. Fortunately, it was pulled away by Gara's sand, and the slashing wave left several marks on the ground. A huge dent. Ninki was moved and took a deep breath. "Lord Feng Yao, take a rest. I'm afraid you will kill me if you don't pay attention, and the time for my spelling is coming." During this time, in addition to refining chakra, Feng Yao came to practice with Gaara and Neji. And don't use time-space ninjutsu and 10,000 grand mudra, and confront them with 6-style taijutsu. This is also to adapt to the days when there will be no time and space ninjutsu. But Neji and Gaara still lose more and win less, mainly because Feng Yao's understanding of ninjutsu is far better than the two, and almost all of them will be seen as flawed. Xianju excitedly said from the side, "Wow, Lord Feng Yao, it's great, I have prepared tea here, why don't you come and take a rest?" At the same time, the personality in my heart is saying, while Duoyu has not recovered yet. I have to seize the opportunity, damn it, why did Lord Feng Yao never bite me? If Feng Yao knew that, he would definitely feel speechless. With the ability of his own intercolumnar cells to recover, he would not use Xianju's physique, and he also knew that Xianju was disgusted with being bitten by others, so he never mentioned it. Feng Yao and others walked over together, unbuttoned the slightly dirty coat, and sat on a chair to rest. At this moment, a wheelchair was pushed out from one of the doors opposite, and the light shone on their faces. "Orochimaru," Feng Yao said slowly, "you recovered so quickly. I thought you had to lie down for a month. Itachi's monthly reading is not easy." Orochimaru gritted his teeth when he mentioned the name. "How can it be so easy to recover? Am I still in a wheelchair? I heard that Yao Jun came over when you asked me for something. Anyway, you can move around, recovery is just a matter of time." A matter of time. Quote. Feng Yao didn't speak. After drinking the tea in the cup, he walked to the center of the hall in the eyes of Orochimaru. Orochimaru was puzzled, not knowing what Feng Yao wanted to do. "Orochimaru, do you know what the reincarnation eye does?" Feng Yao asked this question expressionlessly. I haven't done any research yet, but I seem to know from Yao Jun's tone." Orochimaru had a look of anticipation on his face. He knew what Feng Yao had called him to do, but the samsara eye is still with me, do you want me to ask the pocket to get it? In Yuyan village before, Feng Yao hid his samsara eye after showing his reincarnation. They didn't see it when they went to rescue Orochimaru and Tu, so they still didn't know about Feng Yao's double reincarnation eyes. Reincarnation eye, now, Feng Yao shouted in his heart, and purple eyes appeared instead of blue pupils. The whole place was suddenly silent. Orochimaru was full of disbelief, and suddenly seemed to think of something. How could this be? Could it be? Feng Yao's eyes narrowed slightly. It seems that Orochimaru has also discovered some of his secrets, and he is indeed a scientist. Orochimaru clapped his fist and showed an expression of sudden realization. Could it be that Yuyan village has 2 pairs of samsara eyes? Yaojun took 3 and came back, as expected of Yaojun. Looking at the confident Orochimaru, Feng Yao was a little ashamed. It is true that a normal person should really wonder if the other party has extra samsara eyes. Cough. Okay, Orochimaru, let me show you the ability of samsara eye. After talking about the seal in his hand, he mobilized chakra to perceive something in the ninja world, and Feng Yao found its figure in an underground place. He slapped the ground with one hand. Psychic, outer Tao golem. After the smoke passed, a huge wooden statue stood in the center, with complex patterns on its body, iron handcuffs and shackles on its hands and feet, and 9 closed eyes on its head. And there is a person on the golem. No, it is a person made of wood to be precise. That's the first Hokage, Senju Hashirama. This is a piece of meat that Uchiha Madara bit off from Hashima and put it into a golem to cultivate it. Seeing that Orochimaru wanted to get up from the chair excitedly, he hurriedly let the pocket push him to the front of the golem. He caressed the golem ecstatically. To have such a tenacious vitality, what is this? And the statue of the first Hokage pillar. As if seeing him, the transplant was very successful. It's wonderful, Yao Jun, I want to enter the research immediately. You really can keep surprising me. Chapter 77 _ to the land of water. You don't have to be too excited, you should quickly set up a barrier and seal it and study it slowly. The other party also has the Eye of Reincarnation, and theoretically, it is possible to channel back again. Feng Yao spoke the truth without haste, although Nagato had only one eye left. But it is still possible to channel out of the outside world, so it needs to be sealed and studied slowly. Orochimaru became anxious when he heard it, then. Hurry up, it'll be over if you slow down, hurry up, hurry up. Feng Yao took a large push of the seal scroll from the side, and he had already prepared for Gaara to seal the outsider golem as required. A few talismans were attached to the golem, and there was a layer of enchantment surrounding it, and chains were raised on the ground to trap the outsider golem. After doing all this, Feng Yao took a deep breath. Orochimaru almost recovered, and he should go to the land of water first. There has been no time to go to the mission there, and my time-space ninjutsu is about to end. If I don't go now, I will spend more time on the road in the future. After Feng Yao explained some things to Orochimaru with Yunchang Hirazaka, and found Shueyu to take him away with him. After all, the other party was born in the country of water, and he was familiar with the territory in the country of water. And the underground cave in the distance. A loud noise came, and Obito smashed his fan in the cave. Ah, Feng Yao, this bastard. How could that bastard master the Eye of Reincarnation so quickly, and actually channel the outsider golem so easily? He originally thought that it would take time to master the power of the Eye of Reincarnation, and the opponent would not be able to exert the full power of the Eye of Reincarnation for a while. But in the end, it's still a big deal. He should have thought of this earlier. He put catching the tailed beast in the first place, and subconsciously ignored this problem. Obito slowly calmed down, and said to Baiju next to him, "How is it, has Nagato tried channeling?" "Ah, he can't feel the golem over there, it should be sealed," Baiju said hesitantly. Obito didn't get angry again, he knew that he gave Feng Yao a chance. "Order the Shao mission to continue, find their location, and I will personally go and recapture the outsider golem." Obito's icy tone returned to the cave. The land of water, in the thick fog. A door of space opened, Feng Yao and Shueyu came out. Looking around, there was almost a thick fog. If outsiders come here, they will definitely get lost. Shueyu looked around, and there were many special topography of mountains nearby. If you listen carefully, you will hear the sound of the islanders going into the sea. In addition to the main island, there will be many other small islands in the land of water. Feng Yao opened the door to the island's space. The two walked side by side, and under the leadership of Shueyu, they were going to Wuyin village to inquire about news. This time, the two goals are, one is to find it and not cut it, and the other is to conquer the 5th generation of water shadows. The later tasks are more difficult and can be put down first. The two people came to a small town. The stalls were full of various fish. Here, some islanders lived according to customs, and few would see ninjas passing by. When I walked to a food store, Shueyu couldn't walk, so I had to buy the cheese jelly inside. Shueyu said vaguely while eating. "Boss Feng Yao, you don't know how scarce the products in our country of water are. Except for fish, which are fish, I have eaten and vomited. Before I went to the mainland, part of the reason was that there were eat." Feng Yao did not reply. The 5 countries invaded each other, partly because their own people could get a better living environment. At this time, a Korean team next to him passed by, and it seemed that the mission should be led by Shangnan. There were 4 of them, and the other 3 were children. Feng Yao pondered in his heart, even if he went to Wuyin village to find it and didn't know how long it would take, it would be best to ask someone to ask. So after the purchase of the team was completed, he pulled Shueyu and quietly followed. The Wuyin team was walking on the trail, and the leader Kamunan was faintly aware of Feng Yao's tracking, but he didn't break it. He wanted to see what Feng Yao was going to do. AC-level mission with the team. In his opinion, there may be something special about this mission, which caused some ninjas to follow them. Feng Yao pondered to Shueyu, "It's too time-consuming to find if you don't cut it. I believe that if you don't cut it, it's impossible to do nothing during this period of time. Let's arrest them and ask them what happened. Then leave it to me." Shueyu responded excitedly, I haven't played against the ninjas of my own country for a long time, and I have always wanted to meet the seniors. As he spoke, his right arm suddenly swelled up, and a curse mark appeared on his face. He jumped over the head of Wu Yin's squad, and slashed down with the big knife. Water escape, the art of howling water arms. Xianju slashed with a concentrated strike, and once easily cut the Cerberus in half. Kurikan Jonin was also well prepared. Seeing that the opponent had already made his move, he shouted, "Be careful, everyone retreats in a zigzag formation, there should be another enemy." Then the hands are sealed, and the chakra is converted into water in the body. Shooting into the ground, high-pressure water jets on the ground form large waves to attack Xianju, but the main purpose is to change the position of Xianju's broadsword. Xianju's power-charged blow was swept away by the water column, and the terrifying force of the broadsword avoided the huge gap several meters long on the ground. Pulling up the big knife and putting it on his shoulder, Xianju said, "It's not bad, I can think of such a method, but you can't beat me." After Xianju finished speaking, her body changed drastically again, entering the state of the second curse. The skin on his body began to turn black, his face was marked with sharp knife-shaped marks, his purple pupils turned yellow, his hair was brown and black, and his right arm was disproportionately enlarged by about 3 times. He let out a deep breath and swung the knife in a circle, as if the sharp knife aura was about to cut the opponent's face. A teenager who looked young after all trembled and said, "What should I do, teacher? This guy looks so scary." Don't be useless, the teacher will definitely win." Kurigakure Jonin was a little silent. He was just an ordinary Jonin, and the state of Xianju Xianju combined with the technique of hydration could even defeat many elite Jonin. He is a Jonin, and he has been mentally prepared for death for countless missions. But he can't let his students die here. Kurigakure Jonin turned around and said solemnly, "Listen, I'll buy you time. As soon as I fight the opponent, you will run away immediately, do you understand?" The students were hesitant, they didn't want to leave the teacher here alone. "Teacher, we have to fight with you too." "Yes, we are ninjas too." Kurikan's Jonin was extremely anxious, but Xianju didn't give him a chance to chat, and rushed up with a single stride. Directly slashing across, it seems that the opponent will be cut in half. Kirigaken Jonin shouted, Go back and report, leave me alone." Water escape broken flow. The high-speed water flow rushed towards Xianju, but it passed through Xianju's body, as if hitting the water surface. Apart from being afraid of thunder, Xianju's hydration technique rarely suffered. Seeing that the ninjutsu was useless, Kirigaken Jonin also took out his ninja sword to block Suzuki's attack. But now Xianju is several times stronger than just now, and the blade is directly cut off by Xianju, and it seems that this Jonin will be divided into 2 halves. Xianju turned the big knife over and slashed the opponent's stomach with the back of the knife. He didn't forget that Feng Yao wanted to torture the intelligence. Even so, this Jonin was seriously injured, and he flew out dozens of meters and hit a big tree before stopping. The 3 children were like wooden sculptures, occupied by fear and unable to move. "Quick, run away, you, stop, don't hurt them." Kurigakure Jonin dragged his body with pain in every cell, and supported himself with the ninja knife that was broken in half, trying to stand up. Feng Yao jumped down from the tree, he gave Xianju a look and asked Xianju to stop. Xianju shrugged helplessly and exited the cursed state. The faces of the 3 children looked a little better. Feng Yao said calmly, "I want to ask you something, you answer it, the 3 of them can survive, otherwise, all of you will die." Hearing the threat in Feng Yao's tone, Wu Yinshengren snorted coldly and spit out a mouthful of blood. You bastards, come to our water country. What do you want to do?" Impossible, betrayed the village. It's a pity that what Feng Yao wants is really not the news of the village. If he doesn't come to the land of water, 80% of them will destroy it, so Wu Yin village must know his news. Not bad, it's still a character. Feng Yao nodded, and then asked his own question. You know that Teodi won't kill this man again. I'm not wrong. He should have returned to Wuyin village and tell me his news. Feng Yao's words revealed an unquestionable tone. I believe that as long as he refuses, he will kill him in the next moment. As a result, the other party laughed, and more blood spilled from the corner of his mouth. He said savagely, "So you guys want to kill and don't kill the adults. Stop dreaming. I'd rather die. I won't be exposed and don't kill me. Lord." Quote. Feng Yao was stunned when he heard this. What the hell, it would be betrayal if he didn't kill him again. Is it a subordinate who will not cut development? Own. Wrong person. Chapter 78 _ No more slaying encounters. The scene was suddenly eerily quiet for a few seconds. Feng Yao didn't know how to ask for a while. He coughed twice, and asked a little embarrassedly, "Then, are you a subordinate who will not be killed again?" Seeing Feng Yao's sudden change in tone, Kagakura Junin was also a little puzzled, but it wasn't a secret, so he answered Feng Yao's question truthfully. Cough cough. I'm not going to cut it again. Your subordinate, but he is us, the 7 ninja swordsmen of Karayan village. Feng Yao frowned. Of course I know it's the 7 ninja swordsmen from your Wuyin village, but isn't he a rebel? Why do you want to protect him? Due to the coup d'état, Xianju failed to assassinate the 4th generation of Water Shadows, escaped from Wuyin village, and was classified as a traitor. But looking at the appearance of the Karikan Jonin now, he is very protective. Could it be that he will not turn to Karayan again? The following answer confirmed Feng Yao's point of view. If you don't kill the Lord again, it's no longer a traitor. He belongs to my village of Karayan, the 7 people of the ninja sword. So no matter what you have any purpose, you can't succeed. Feng Yao was silent. This news surprised him. Feng Yao broke the opponent's neck with a knife, and the Junin didn't even react before he died. Will you join Wuyin again? That is a betrayal of the immortal. Different from the nature of Orochimaru, Yinyan village listens to Orochimaru, and Orochimaru listens to Feng Yao. It would be different if I joined Wuyin. If I don't cut it, should I listen to Feng Yao's order or Sui Ying's order? How can one person obey the orders of the 2 organizations? If he does, then he will not be absolutely obedient to one party. This is not allowed by Feng Yao. Xueyu swung the sword around the necks of the 3 Wuyin youths, and asked casually, "Boss Feng Yao, what should we do with these people? Do you want to cut them off?" Feng Yao asked directly, "Do you want to keep them and seek revenge from us in the future? But after all, they are still young, let them die without pain." Xueyu laughed playfully, and the 3 misty hidden youths showed despair, and Xueyu dealt with everyone in a moment. Feng Yao then followed Xueyu and continued on the road to Wuyin. After continuing to walk for a full 4 hours, after turning over the last hillside, I finally saw Wuyin village. This is a village built entirely of gray stones, and most of the buildings in Wuyin village around are high-rise buildings. A huge stone bridge in the middle leads to various places in the village, and the oval building on the bridge is the Water Shadow Hall. The ninjas in the village came and went, and most of them were ordinary people. Their parents briefly chatted about what happened recently. I heard that Mr. Bai completed the task well, so beautiful is actually a boy. Haha, who said it wasn't, and even if you don't kill the adults, you are still very strong. I heard that several Xianju are not his opponents. From this conversation, Feng Yao learned that Bai Xianju did indeed join Karayan, but there was no news from Hideyoshi. Now it's inconvenient during the day, so I can only wait until the evening to find out, thinking that here Feng Yao pulls Xueyu to a stone chair to rest. It was late at night in Wuyin village, and 2 figures shuttled on the roof. In an unknown room, Zai Bujin was standing in front of the table and unwrapping his protective gear, next to a foggy ninja with orange hair and Shiro who had grown a lot taller. If you don't kill your lord, you're really amazing. This is an S-rank mission. I didn't expect you to complete it so quickly. After a few swipes, the guy will be separated from the head. I beg you to accept me as your apprentice. After saying that, he put his hands together and kept making a pleading appearance. Zan showed an impatient look. Didn't you say it? I won't accept you. If it wasn't for the sake of seeing if the village was really out of the blood fog, I would have left with others at that time, and you will leave sooner or later. Red Ghost of Watermelon Mountain, you have talent, you can just find a better teacher to teach yourself. Quote. The Red Ghost of Watermelon Mountain showed a resentful expression. No, if you don't kill the Lord, what organization did you join? What can be better than Wuyin Village? You are now returning to the 7 ninja swordsmen to help Suiying. Isn't it good for adults to govern the village together? Zaibi Yuzan did not reply, but silently wiped his own beheading sword. No one spoke for a while, and after a while, Bai opened his mouth to break the silence. Red Ghost, don't talk about it. If you don't kill the Lord, you will naturally have his own ideas. It's getting late, so you can go back. Hey, that's fine, Master. You must stay. The village of Karayan cannot do without you, and Mr. Terumi is the one who can lead us. The Red Ghost of Watermelon Mountain did not forget to take advantage of it. Although Zaibuzhan has never acknowledged the relationship between master and apprentice, Zaibuzhan actually taught the Red Ghost of Watermelon Mountain a lot of things. On the one hand, it is because of his talent, and on the other hand, he has just come here. When in Wuyin Village, the Red Ghost of Watermelon Mountain helped Zaibuzhi. But the next moment, 2 figures appeared in front of Zaibuzhan and others. Really? If you don't cut it, do you think the Red Ghost of Watermelon Mountain is the one who can lead you? Feng Yao's gloomy voice reached everyone's ears, and the Red Ghost of Watermelon Mountain was pushed to the ground by Shuiyu's hand before he could react. Everyone on the field was shocked. Although Feng Yao was wearing a mask, the pure aura on his body would never admit his mistake. Zaibuzhan stood up immediately. This. Lord Feng Yao, how could you, here? Feng Yao's expression did not change. He casually sat on the chair next to him, and said again, I'm asking you, don't cut it again. Do you think Terumi is the one who can lead you? It's only been more than half a year, have you forgotten who you are? After the chakra broke out, the terrifying coercion shrouded everyone in the room, and the wind was well controlled, and no one else could feel it except this room. If you don't cut it, you will take a few steps back unconsciously. This chakra is as different as Feng Yao more than half a year ago. His face was covered in cold sweat unconsciously. He hurriedly explained for himself. No, Lord Feng Yao, I remember everything as you promised, but too many things happened in this Wuyin village, but I never meant to betray the organization, please trust me. After saying that, he bent down and lowered his head deeply. Feng Yao's face became a little better, but it was hard to believe just by his own words. So Feng Yao pointed at the Red Ghost of Watermelon Mountain who was controlled by Shuiyu and asked, who is this person? Your relationship seems to be good. He wants you to reconnect with Wuyin as the 7 ninja swordsmen, right? Feng Yao after changing positions, the chair made a squeezing sound again. Zaibuzhan turned his head to look at the red-eyed ghost and said, this is a ninja I met in Wuyin village, pestering me to ask me to teach him assassination techniques. I never thought of becoming a ninja swordsman again. As for being in the fog is also caused by some mistakes, please forgive me. Quote. It's okay, I forgive you. Huh. I said I forgive you, and I can pretend that your work for Karayan never happened. Relief. Thank you, Lord Feng Yao. However, if you do something wrong, you must make up for it and kill him. The atmosphere in the room was tense, as if the temperature had dropped a few degrees. No more chopping and swallowing. Originally, as a member of Xian, he should not hesitate. He has long had nothing to do with Wuyin, and joining an organization should offer his loyalty, but he still said, this man is not a cold-blooded person. You said, what? Well, you are my subordinate, and it must have nothing to do with Wuyin village. The reason why this person is here is because you joined Wuyin village without authorization. If everyone is like you, they will go to major universities tomorrow. Do you think it's okay to do things in Shinobu village? Zaibuzhan took a deep breath and let it out, as if struggling. Don't cut it again. Are you a loyal dog who obeyed the orders of the Xian organization? Or are you a group of 7 ninja swords with less than 1 person and more than 10,000 people in Wuyin village? This. Don't tell me, prove it with your actions. Zebuzhan closed his eyes, then opened them suddenly, lost for only a moment. He picked up the beheading sword and stood in front of the red ghost. The red ghost of Watermelon Mountain, who had already known that he would not be killed, smiled and closed his eyes in despair. Hold the knife handle tightly without slashing, and use the instant kill speed as the only compensation, so that the red ghost will die without pain. Then Clang. A hard big knife blocked the slash. Why stop me? The beheading sword that wanted to cut off the red ghost's head was stopped by Xianju. Okay Xianju, let's step back first, let go of this guy, and I won't kill you. Feng Yao waved his hand, and the second knife he wanted to swing stopped because of Feng Yao's words. All of this was arranged by Feng Yao, and he just wanted to determine whether he would still be loyal to himself if he did not cut it. Now he has the answer. Chapter 79:Time and Space Ninjutsu expired. The red ghost of Watermelon Mountain, who opened his eyes slightly, had already realized that the guillotine in front of him had disappeared, and his life was no longer threatened. But still the whole body trembled. The body could not help trembling, although sometimes the ninja had the determination to die. But walking from life to death and from death to life, it is inevitable that there will be some fear of death. Ignoring the trembling of the red ghost of Watermelon Mountain, Feng Yao asked Xianju, is it possible to get rid of this misty ninja without another slash just now, Xianju? Well, it can definitely be fatal. As expected of the owner of the beheading sword, if you don't cut it, I thought that if you were not strong enough, I would grab the sword. Feng Yao nodded and said with satisfaction to Zebuzhan, very good, Zebuzhan, I believe your loyalty to Xian, now, but you still have to tell me truthfully what happened after you came to Wuyin village. Where is Hideyoshi, and why did you join Korean village? Bai, who was beside him, was also terrified. Feng Yao was now like the leader of an organization, different from when he met before. He put down the beheading sword and nodded stiffly. Yes, Lord Feng Yao, I originally came to Wuyin village to assassinate the Shuiying organization, but after collecting information, I learned that the current village is different. It is not the brutal rule, the people of the village live peacefully. Quote. For a while, Hidden Mist Village was called the Village of Blood Mist, but what everyone didn't know was that it was caused by the 4th generation of water shadows being manipulated by Obito. The reason why the 7 ninja swordsmen judged the village was that they were dissatisfied with the tyranny of the village, and they fired the first shot against tyranny if they did not cut it. This is also why many ninjas in Korean are even very admired for not slashing. Hearing this, Feng Yao has already guessed most of what happened. Zebuzhan continued, so I hesitated, I stayed in Wuyin village for a long time and didn't do anything, and then was discovered by Anbu. I thought there would be a fierce battle, and was about to start, but the red ghost of Watermelon Mountain stopped them and called the 5th generation Mizukage Terumi Mei. She told me the truth about the blood mist, and apologized to me for what happened back then, and wanted to invite me back to the village of Hidden Mist. I didn't agree, and she didn't force it, but just said that I could always live in Wuyin village. In order to raise some funds, I occasionally completed some commissions with Bai. Over time, people thought that I was obeying Suiying's orders. Hideyoshi was bored here and went to the Land of Thunder on the way. Quote. Feng Yao pinched the bridge of his nose and seemed a little helpless, and it would have changed a lot without cutting it. Now that Union is fighting, Hideyoshi is probably very happy on the battlefield, but it is also a good thing to be able to reconnect with each other. Xianju smiled and grabbed the neck of the red ghost of Watermelon Mountain with one hand, and asked, Boss Feng Yao, is this person going to cut it? The red ghost of Watermelon Mountain became nervous again. Whether it is life or death depends on Feng Yao's words. If it was an irrelevant person, Feng Yao, out of prudence, he killed the incident without blinking an eye, and if he released it, he would definitely expose his own and the organization's information. But doing so will obviously chill his heart to not cut it, and he doesn't mind breaking some of his own rules for his subordinate Feng Yao, who faithfully follows him. Don't kill him first. Of course, it depends on the specific situation. If you don't kill him, you will plant a curse mark to ensure that no information will be leaked. Zibuzhan lowered his head heavily. Thank you, Lord Fengyao. Bai also bowed his head. So Fengyao opened Wangquan Hirazaka, and asked Shuiyu to pull the red ghost of Watermelon Mountain to find Orochimaru. Zibuzhan and others were also surprised when they saw this time-space ninjutsu. I didn't expect that there would be a time-space ninjutsu that could span such a long distance. But Fengyao was not satisfied in his heart. One day I won't be able to use Wangquan Hirazaka, and the next thing will be a lot of trouble. It would be great if someone could learn the technique of Flying Thunder God system. How much time is left? The host has less than half a day to use time-space ninjutsu, and when the time is up, random selection will begin. Hearing the sound of the system at this time always made Fengyao shudder, and this was the third time he had drawn. After a while, the red ghost of Watermelon Mountain, whose head was cursed by blood slaves, was thrown back. Fengyao took Shuiyu out of the room, and he will stay in the country of water for the next period of time. All the matters of the Xian organization were handed over to Orochimaru before he came, and Fengyao sat on a stone platform and waited for the time to come. The red ghost of Watermelon Mountain followed Zibuzhan in despair, and Zibuzhan was about to send him back. The two walked in the corridor so quietly, without speaking, and soon saw the door. Zibuzhan finally said, I'm not going to apologize to you. The red ghost who followed Zibuzhan's body shook. Don't kill the adults again. I followed that lord before I came to Korean. He helped me a lot, including teaching me ninjutsu. Just live a good life. It's best for you to forget about today's affairs, and you won't need to look for me in the future. The red ghost felt a firm will from Zibuzhan's mouth, but he still responded, if you don't want to kill the lord again, I understand what you mean, but if that lord wants to hurt Wuin village and hurt Mizukage-sama, I will fight against him even if he dies. Him. Zibuzhan didn't respond, just turned and walked towards his room. Maybe it sounded like a joke to him. In the early morning, the trees are covered with crystal dewdrops. Fengyao's clothes were damp from the dew, but he didn't care because it was time for the system to randomly draw ninjutsu. The mechanized voice sounded again. Please prepare, host. This system will randomly select ninjutsu from Naruto World for the host. From now on, the host's time-space ninjutsu will not be available. Fengyao's psychic and time-space ninjutsu were once again imprisoned by the system. Well, let's start drawing. It was only a few tens of seconds, but it was like a lifetime. Finally, Fengyao's mind heard the sound of the system again. Congratulations to the host for extracting the pupil technique. All pupil techniques and abilities in the Naruto world will be fully mastered by the host, and any ninjutsu host will be temporarily unavailable. Fengyao got up directly from the chair. The system finally did not pull the cross this time. In the last life, there was a saying that Dragon Ball relied on dyeing hair, and Hokage relied on beauty contact lenses. I told you indirectly that the more bells and whistles the eyes are, the stronger the ninjutsu needs to be, and most of the pupils can just stare directly at people. The key is that he has already collected the 3 major pupil techniques, which means that there will be no debilitating period when the ninjutsu is just replaced. Not to mention that Obito's eyes can continue to be used. The key is the reincarnation eye. Strictly speaking, these eyes are Madara's eyes, and Madara's ability to reincarnate will be inherited by herself. Blinking his eyes, a huge message has flowed into his mind. Wheeltoon Boundary Prison, Tianju Zhengxing, Shinra Tianzheng, Earth Blast Tianxing, Susanoo, Wangquan Hirazaka. Fengyao laughed loudly. This was the first time he had difficulty controlling his joyful emotions because of random ninjutsu. The important time and space ninjutsu is still in his own hands. If you have these abilities, you will not be able to achieve great things. Anyone who comes will be drawn directly. However, there are some abilities that Fengyao has mastered, but he has not yet been able to possess the opponent's kaleidoscope writing wheel eye. Just like Itachi's Yudu and Amaterasu, but as long as he gets the cells of his eyes, there is no problem, and with his current ability, the two Itachi may not be his opponents either. The only thing to guard against is other gods. This also makes Feng Yao have a stomachache, and he knew that he would have kept some water-stopping eye cells. It is much more convenient to control Terumi Maikai directly with Bitianjin, but the Tsunade incident also made Feng Yao understand that Bitianjin is not omnipotent. As Itachi said, every ninjutsu has its weaknesses. The strength of the host is so terrifying. Special mission. Let the ninja world achieve peace. Mission requirements. The mission must not be completed without destroying any country, or causing more than half of a country's national strength to decline. Time. 2 years reward. Slogan. You are already a strong man, you should have a great goal. Feng Yao's face suddenly turned ashes, and he directly flipped the stone chair behind him and Shui Yu sleeping on it upside down, startling Shui Yu. Directly sprayed at the system. My thunder-throwing mother, do you think labor and capital are Chinchujuma? Don't you know that the ninja world is still fighting for so many years? Also, what is the reward? It's too perfunctory for me, right? Quote. Host, calm down. It is completely feasible for you to complete the task with your current strength, but it still depends on your means. Please continue to work hard. You are not far from being the strongest in the ninja world. Chapter 80 _ The 5th generation of Mizukage Terumi Mei. It's useless to scold all the time. The main thing is to complete the other 2 tasks. Feng Yao once again brought Shui Yu to Zaibujin's room again, and now all he has to do is meet the 5th generation of Mizukage Terumi Mei. Bu Yuzan pondered for a moment. Shuiying will not summon me under normal circumstances, and only people from this village can meet with Suiying. I am afraid that it is very difficult for you to see her. As the leader of each village, the security issue is definitely the most important. Even if others want to meet, they must make an appointment in advance, and then they can meet people from other countries under the condition of ensuring safety. Of course Feng Yao knew this kind of thing. You just need to go see her by yourself, and leave the irrelevant people away. I will go indirectly if I can. Zabujin nodded, so he took Bai out and headed to the Shuiying Hall. Although he didn't know what Feng Yao was going to do, he was ready for any battle. In front of a huge round table, there are dozens of chairs sitting on some old people over 50 years old. They are all high-level members of Wuyin Village. Before there is no water shadow, Wuyin Village will have the final say. Now is the time for a meeting in Wuyin Village, usually when there is a major event or there is a major decision. Sitting in the center is a very beautiful adult with green eyes, long brown curly hair, and her right eye is covered by her hair. She is the 5th Hokage of Karayan Village, Terumi Mei. Standing beside her was a short gray-blue hair, wearing black-rimmed glasses, looking at a shy, short-statured boy with serrated teeth, carrying one of the 7 ninja knives on his back. Flamingo is also Mizukage's bodyguard, Nagajiro. An old man with a thin face said, recently, people who went to the mainland to trade with other countries have sent information. It seems that the countries on the mainland are at war again. This time it is the land of fire and the land of thunder. Will our Wuyin village join? Go in, or just sit on the sidelines? Quote. As soon as this statement came out, many people expressed their opinions. Some felt that this was a God-given opportunity and could take the opportunity to invade the mainland. Terumi Mei dragged her chin with her hands and seemed to be thinking about the pros and cons. After a long time, he said with a serious expression, Wuyin Village is not suitable for participating in the war now. After finally implementing the peaceful and open policy, some national strength has been restored. Now the people who participate in our Wuyin Village will suffer from the war. As soon as these words came out, some people fell silent. But there are still some old men who rely on the old and sell the old and continue to fight against Terumi Mei. It is normal for there to be objections in the village. After all, some decisions cannot be satisfied by everyone. An old man with a wrinkled face and lost teeth spoke, and everyone fell silent. He is the elder, Yuan Shi, of Wuyin Village. The Wuyin village who lost the water shadow has always been in charge of the elder, Yuan Shi. Because this elder has the same power as Shuiying, the elder should be consulted on important matters in the village. Shuiying, your lord. That's right. I'm not going to participate in the mist. Cough cough. The old man seemed to be struggling to say a few words, but as soon as he opened his mouth, no one objected. Chengjuro saw Master Yuan, coughing badly, and went up to pat him on the back. What a good boy, Chojuro. Terumi Mei spoke again. Since the elders have said it, then this matter is settled. At this moment, a black eye patch on his right eye, 2 strange earrings on his ears, and a man with dark blue hair standing up came in. He bowed to the crowd first, then walked quickly to Terumi Mei and said something. Oh, why don't you say you want to see me in a hurry? It's already at the door. Terumi Mei showed a touch of surprise, and she still appreciates not slaughtering the former, Ghost Sword 7. The other party's experience and combat effectiveness are very good. As for the betrayal of Karayan, it is understandable, and the other party has also helped the village to receive a lot of commissions in the village. Terumi Mei has always wanted to reuse the other party. Our meeting is almost over. Since Mistress Shuiying wants to meet us, we will leave first. An old man with a gray beard spoke, then stood up to leave, and everyone left. After everyone left, Terumi Mei let out a sigh of relief and stretched out, like a sleepy Persian cat. Chenjuro's face flushed from her sexy and mature figure. Ching opened his mouth and said, Shuiying-sama, please pay attention to your behavior, I'm going to ask you to stop beheading. Okay, it's very tiring to have a meeting with those old men to fight their wits and courage. Fortunately, there are elders, otherwise I don't know how long it will take. Terumi Mei waved her hand lightly, signaling for the other party to call someone over. Soon after, Zaibuzhen walked in with a bandage on his face and a beheading knife behind his back, followed by Bai. Zaibuzhen bowed slightly. Lord Shuiying, it's been a long time since I saw you, this time I have something to look for you. Well, you've been working hard during this time. If you have anything, just say it. Bye, you've been really cute again after a long time Tilda. These words made Shiro's cheeks slightly red, and when Terumi Mei saw Shiro, she thought that the other party was cute and kind-hearted, so she couldn't help teasing him every time they met. Zaibuzhen looked around and thought about it quickly, and said, I'm afraid others won't know about this matter, so I also ask Lord Shuiying to let the left and right step back. Oh. Such a request seems a bit strange, and Qing's eyes are even dangerous. If the other party said these words from another villager, I am afraid that Qing has already done it. But this was proposed by Zaibuzhen. Maybe it's some kind of information that other people can't listen to. This is Wuyin village. I believe Zaibuzhen will not do anything stupid. So Terumi Mei still withdrew the surrounding ninjas, leaving only Chengjuro and Qing. Terumi Mei smiled and said, I won't let Ao and Chengjuro go down. They are my trusted subordinates and won't reveal anything. Is there anything I can say now? Qing folded her arms in her chest, wanting to see if there is any use of it. If she doesn't cut it, she should tell Mizuying-sama. Under the watchful eyes of everyone, no longer had a solemn and dignified face. He opened his mouth to the air and said, Master Fengyao, most of the people have already retreated, please come out. A black door of space appeared beside Zaibuzhen. It is Fengyao's, Wangquan Hirazaka. Although it belongs to time and space ninjutsu, it is also an ability that can only be used when the 3 major pupil techniques are gathered together, which is very similar to the principle of Shinwei. Therefore, it is also a manifestation of the pupil technique, and Fengyao can still continue to use it. Qing and the others immediately became cautious, and Chengjuro had already drawn out his weapon. Fengyao came out of it, although he couldn't see his face clearly, the seductive blue pupils and pure breath still left everyone stunned. However, as Mizukage's guards, it was impossible for Chengjuro and Ao to stay in place and rushed up directly. Chojuro jumped up first, holding the double knife, Flavo, in both hands and jumped into the air to attack Keizyao. Flame flatfish liberation. Gas was emitted from the two circular holes of the flat-eye flounder, and then the entire flat-eye flatfish glowed as a whole, forming a chakra aggregate, and a chakra light ball burst out, and it was about to fall on Feng Yao's head. Don't be too arrogant. A rebellious voice sounded from behind Feng Yao. Suzui blocked Chengjiro with a knife. If you want to touch my boss, you have to pass me first. Bang! The two of them exerted their own strength, and for a while, neither of them could do anything to the other. I'm here to help you, Chengjiro, Mizutun Mizu. As soon as Ching wanted to help, he was forced to retreat with a knife, interrupting Yuyan. An angry Qingzi asked, if you don't cut it again, Mizuying-sama will treat you well. Are you doing what you are doing these days to call someone to assassinate Mizuying-sama? Terumi Mei sat on the spot without moving, quietly watching Feng Yao, although she didn't expect this situation, but she didn't feel that the other party came to assassinate her. Feng Yao said slowly, I didn't come to assassinate Shuiying, and if I really wanted to do that, why should I assassinate, just because there is no one in Wuyin village who can stop me now? The words are full of domineering, although arrogant, but the people on the field vaguely feel that the other party is telling the truth.